woman never belongs to you. It's just your turn. You lost your edge, she lost attraction for you. That's how it works. What'd you think she was gonna do? Tell you she cheated? Men cannot afford to get complacent in relationships. Get your fat ass off the couch, start lifting weights, and learn game. You're welcome.
And now your man,
Donovan Sharpe.
¿Qué pasó, vatos? Es tu hombre, Donovan Sharpe. Bienvenido a la 971 edición de TSR en vivo. Your daily dose. I hope I nailed that. Your daily dose. Wait, what's up, guys? It's your man, Donovan Sharpe, and welcome to the blah, 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 blah. Your daily dose of toxic masculinity, misogyny, and small dick energy. It is good to have you guys in this afternoon. I was actually just going to wear a Mega Man shirt. I was trying to keep it light, but JB84 in the chat was waxing poetic about how much he loved Cuban Donovan. So I quickly changed the outfit. I looked up how to say, and I don't know, who knows? I think I got that right. Oh, no. Oh, guys, no. I'm sorry. I am not a native Spanish speaker. Ibn Al-Hakim says, genial escucharte en español. I don't know what that means. I think the last thing means in Spanish, but I have no idea what escucharte. Genial escucharte en español. Good stuff, man. Yeah, I hope I nailed it. I tried not to, insult, native Spanish speakers trying to pronounce things correctly, but I figured because it's been a while since my hair has seen the clippers and my hairline leaves a lot to be desired, I figured I'd go Cuban Donovan today to cover up my very needy hairline today. Some good news, gentlemen. Some very, very good news. Kathy will be leaving my life on Wednesday. Yes, that is what I named my catheter. Named her Kathy. She's been a pain in the dick for a while. And because I'm healing very, very quickly, I'm getting the cath. I think I'm getting it out on Wednesday. I think I said it's like a 75 to 80% chance. One of the reasons why I'm healing so quickly is because I'm drinking water all the time. I am already up to 1.5 gallons today already. And so yeah. I'm very, 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 very happy that this ordeal is almost over. But I made an announcement today. That Offie Kingdom is the latest edition, the latest confirmation of the Conference of Masculine Excellence. Let me see here. You know what? I think I'll make one more announcement. Here while I have you guys' attention in terms of the CME. And I'll be making more announcements in the coming days and weeks. Suffice it to say, we've got an all-star lineup once again. But confirmed is the book of Alpharonomy. That's right, Dr. BOA has been confirmed as a speaker / presenter at the Conference of Masculine Excellence. He was there last year, and he did a bang up job. I'm looking forward to having him. This year as well. So I'll be making announcements again in the coming days and weeks. Yeah, Mike the Supreme says, "Drink your water, people." Yeah, man, drink that water, man. Not to make this a public service announcement, but you guys remember the health scare that I had back in Arizona 2 years ago, actually, back in 2021. It was over 2 years ago, actually. Couldn't pee, blah, 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 blah. And found out my kidneys were sputtering because I was dehydrated. And my blood pressure was 225 over some ridiculous number. I was about to stroke out. They had to put like 4 bags of, IV fluids in me. They wanted me to leave the hospital with a cath. I was like, dude, I can't do that. I got a flight tomorrow. So looking very, very much looking forward to the end of this ordeal. But guys, take care of yourselves, man. Men of a certain age, man. I'm 45. I'll be 46 in August. And, yeah, I'm going to have to start going to get that examination that none of us want to get, you know. I just so happen to be having symptoms of prostate cancer, all except for the peeing of the blood and all that good stuff. And we thought it was prostate cancer at first, got a second opinion, got the biopsy. Tumor was benign, went in, I got my TERP, my transurethral resection of the prostate. Things are going very, very well. Having my Kath today, Kathy's a little bit temperamental today, so if I disappear off the screen, it means I'm adjusting something, whatever the case may be. That's why I'm using this green screen here, because not only is not, I mean, I'm you know, from the waist down, I'm a complete wreck. My studio's a wreck. And I'm looking forward to being able to get back on my feet, at least doing, that was too fast, doing some sort of exercise, some sort of something, just to keep me active. 2 weeks after Wednesday, cross our fingers, I'll be able to be back in the weight room, and everything will be better than normal. So looking forward to that. Emmett Trill with the $5 super chat says, missed you, Donovan. Definitely will be trying to catch the CME this year. Yeah, by the way, Dio, I saw you in the chat. I sent you back an email for the volunteer ticket. Emmett, if you're a little short on cash, I'm offering 10 volunteer tickets at a steeply discounted rate. I think it's like 60% off or something like that. I'm literally going to, I have to give it, I have to sell them at cost. So this is not a money-making venture, guys. I've lost a total of, I've lost a total of almost $150,000 with these last two CMEs, but hopefully I can keep my losses in the four figures rather than so the CME 1, 6-figure loss, CME 2, 5-figure loss, CME 3, maybe a 4-figure loss, CME 4, maybe a 3-figure loss, and so on and so forth. So it takes a while. It takes a while to get these things to be profitable, but hopefully we'll get there at some point soon. I really don't worry about the money part. I really don't. To me, it's all about the quality of the event. You know, the networking opportunities, giving other people opportunities. Kevin Savo, I'm actually going to release a short here with Savo talking about how important the CME was. I had no idea that the CME led to people getting jobs and contracts from last year. So Savo's off doing big things. I'm hoping he has the time to come to the CME. If not, hey, it's no big deal. That's why we do things here. Dr. B84, member for 38 months. He says, Cuban Donovan is hilarious. Man, I'm old as fuck on here. Yeah, man. You and me both, bro. And yes, Dr. B84 will be at the CME, so stay tuned for that. Before we get started, I want to cover quickly, a quick story. And shout out to Manosphere Highlights Daily. For pointing me in this direction. So the headline is, Ryan Reynolds, Wrexham AFC, demolished the U.S. women's national team during tournament with $1 million prize. Ryan Reynolds, Wrexham AFC, demolished U.S. women's national team during tournament with $1 million prize. Let's go ahead and, Wrexham posted 12 goals to the women's 0 in the contest. Wrexham AFC, a Wales-based soccer squad owned by Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhaney, did not hold back when they faced a U.S. women's soccer team during the inaugural the soccer tournament this past weekend in North Carolina. Both teams were made up of current, former, and special guest players of Wrexham and the U.S. women's national team, respectively, and the men ran up a 12-0 final score to win and move on to the next round. 7 of those goals were scored in 20 minutes as Wrexham poured it on early and coasted to victory. Why was Wrexham trying so hard? It says, this first-time tournament had a grand prize of $1 million, so it didn't matter that the score got lopsided early. So, look, guys, once again, this is another example of the reason why men and women have separate sports. This is why men and women compete separately. Men, we're bigger, faster, stronger, greater lung capacity. We're bigger, bone density. We're stronger. Muscle fibers, all that good stuff. It is what it is. It says the U.S. women's national team was unable to get a goal on board with only 5 shot attempts on goal, while Wrexham had 39 chances on goal. That's almost 33%. So nearly 1 out of every 3 shots that Wrexham took found the back of the net. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Yeah. Again, guys, look, man, I don't have to, look, man, I'm preaching to the choir here. But the bottom line is here, guys, is that this is yet another example of why men and women don't compete together. Why do you think that there are no Transformers on the other side? Why do you think we don't have any male Transformers competing against the men? It's only female Transformers competing against women, right? Oh my God, I am so thirsty. I don't know why I'm so thirsty, guys. Anyway, check out that story on, foxnews.com, and you'll be able to point and laugh just like the rest of the world. Okay, let us get to the main event. Ken Rose with the $5 super chat. He actually put a peace sign in there. Well, all right. Dr. B84 says the girls got crushed into the pit of the earth. Yeah, almost the way Chandler Jones pushed Mac Jones down into the earth's core last season when the Raiders beat the Patriots. We'll see. We'll figure all that out. All right. And so to the main event. Guys, this was a 5.5 hour interview. I'm only going to react to about 45 minutes of it. But I think these 45 minutes are probably 45 of the best minutes. When they get into politics, I'm not into politics. I know enough not to sound stupid when I talk about it. But at any rate, so Patrick Bet-David and friend of the show, Adam Sosnick, traveled to Bucharest, Romania to do a real interview with friend of the show, Andrew Tate. And this is how it went. Here we go.
It's interesting while you're talking about this whole religion thing, while you're in, who has reached out to want to support? We talked about this last time briefly. Yeah. Being a Muslim yourself, have some of the most powerful Muslims reached out, trying to help out, figuring out a way to get you out?
Yeah, absolutely. They certainly have. And also the amount of mail I got from Muslims around the world was completely incredible. When I was in the cell with Tristan, he said, well, I'm Christian. Nobody's written to me. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting, right? That's interesting. It would appear Muslims got a bad rap after 9/11. They really did. And listen, I was young. I was 24. I jumped on the bandwagon. I love my country. I don't like when people attack my country, but those are the 1%ers. Those are the extreme whatever. The more I learn about the Nation of Islam, the more I'm beginning to understand why men of a certain ilk, whoa, Conor McGregor, oh my God. Holy smokes. Conor McGregor just knocked out the Heat mascot. Like he knocked him out. Anyway. But yeah. The more I learn about, Muslim, the Muslim religion, the more attractive it becomes. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm thinking about becoming a Muslim, but I really do respect a lot of their ideals.
So it was kind of amazing the support that you have from the
except for, of course, flying planes into buildings. Don't think I can get on board with that.
brotherhood, and you certainly feel part of the family, and I've had a lot of...
Hey, it's not too... Listen, man, this happened 22 years ago. We got to laugh at ourselves sometimes.
Support from them as a whole. It was Ramadan at the time I was in jail, so my first Ramadan was in jail. So that was certainly interesting because you eat when the sun goes down. And my meal came when the sun was up. So I'd have to cover it up and try and hide it from cockroaches and wait for the sun to go down and eat it cold by myself. But I felt like, if you're going to do it the first time, you may as well jump in the deep end and do it hard. So I did that, and that was an experience. And jail as a whole, I mean, there's so many stories I can tell. There's so many different ways I remember it. There were times I laughed. I will sit and say some of the best days of my life were in jail.
Get out of here.
Yeah. And some of the worst days of my life were in jail. But there were days where me and Tristan, when we were fine.
Now, I've been to jail. I've been to jail 2 separate times for a total of 2.5 weeks. Okay? What I went through is nothing compared to what the Tates went through. They were stripped of their freedom, their dignity. They probably didn't have access to their funds. At least I don't know for sure, right? But me, even when I was locked up, I still had access to all of my money. So the first thing I'd do is I'd get whoever I was banging to put $2,000 in my commissary, and I'd go around and I'd help guys out, right? I did this to keep the peace. Number one. Number two, I didn't want to catch any charges if somebody's going to try to roll up on me. Hey, man, my name's Alex. I kicked somebody's ass in a parking lot. Don't know if I'm going to be here for a while or not, but while I'm here, just want to let you know, let's all make this time as enjoyable as possible. I'm going to give you 5 honey buns. I'm going to give you 2 soups, 5 honey buns, 2 soups, and I always do the honey buns, the soups, and it was like a care package. And that kept the peace for me in jail. Guys always liked me. They always liked me in jail because, I was very giving and I was a big dude too. You know what I mean? So I wasn't in there trying to, cause trouble. But dude, what the Tates went through, the cockroaches, I can't imagine.
In the same cell. There's times we laughed like we've never laughed before. I'll sit and admit that's absolutely not really true. I feel like if you're going to be the kind of person who strives for an exceptional life, which is what I am, I think I'd be a coward if I said I want an exceptional life, but I only want it to be exceptional in a good way. I don't think that's genuine. I want an exceptional life. And exceptional means away from the norm. And away from the norm means flying your Bugatti on a jet to Dubai and taking your own plane to meet it there. And it also means right. A Romanian dungeon with cockroaches on New Year's Eve. They're both exceptional experiences. And the times I was with my brother and it was just him and I, we truly had some genuine days where we laughed like we always laugh. Me and him laugh and have fun on a private jet, and we laughed and had fun in a Romanian prison cell because that's just who we are. And I also have to give my brother some credit while we're here. I would like to state that I absolutely, genuinely believe I have the best brother in the world. And I'll tell you why. I always knew I had the best brother in the world, but he proved it in jail, and I'll tell you why. My brother was put in jail for being my brother. He hasn't said any videos. He hasn't said anything on the internet.
That's right.
He hasn't said any of the things I've supposedly said. He's never, the Matrix isn't attacking him. The BBC doesn't print about him, nothing. Why was Tristan Tate in jail? Because it's Tate brothers. So they just took him and threw him in a cell. Now what's interesting is, when I got out of jail, so many people near me got heat. Old business partners got heat with the tax. They got hit with like tax paperwork, and they were calling everyone who's ever known me, and ex-girlfriends got heat, and all these people got heat. And some people complained, some people didn't. But some people were like, oh, since you've been in jail, it's been so stressful for me. The media's outside my house.
What?
It's stressful for you. I was in jail. What do you want me to do? And people were complaining at me. And as these people started to complain, I sat there, I said to Tristan, you got thrown in jail purely for being my brother. And never for a fraction of a second did you even moan. Not even for a fraction of a second did he say, oh, they only put me here because of you. Why am I here? I'm innocent. This has nothing to do with me. Nothing. In fact, he said the absolute opposite. He said, I am so glad I went to jail with you. I would be furious if they sent you here by yourself. If they're going to lock you up, they better lock me up. And there was a time, about 2 months in, because there's less media pressure on Tristan, they were talking about releasing Tristan first. And he was saying, no, I won't leave without Andrew.
Guys, that is the very definition of a brother. That is the very definition of a brother. And, I mean, dude, like, these dudes, like, honestly, man, like, these dudes are ride or die for each other, man. They really, really are. And that is the very interesting thing about this whole ordeal, is that Tristan Tate wasn't charged with anything. He was not charged with anything. He was arrested simply for being Andrew's brother, and Tristan never complained.
Going down with the ship. I won't leave unless my brother leaves. Wow. I won't leave. And he was telling the guards, I won't leave. Keep me here. I'm not leaving. They said, the judge says you have to leave, you have to leave. He goes, then I will stand outside the gate. I will sleep outside. Wow. I ain't leaving this jail. And our lawyer said, well, we can make an appeal to just release you because there's less media scrutiny around you. And Tristan's like, no, Andrew's in jail, I'm in jail.
There you go.
Refused to leave. He was adamant he had to stay. That's a brother for me. And it was the same for me. I said to Tristan, if they came into me and said, Andrew, go home, I'd be like, no way.
Nope, sorry.
If Tristan's in jail, I'm in jail. We're in jail together. He never for a second complained, never bitched, never moaned. And he was only in jail for being my brother. And then I come out and there's other people, oh, they sent me a piece of paper, blah, blah, blah. You're moaning? It's unbelievable. You truly learn, like I said, jail confirms everything you already knew about the world. And you truly learn who's on your side and who isn't.
Oh my God. Wow. Truer words never spoken, y'all. And again, I'm not going to compare what I went through to the Tate brothers, right? That being said, being in jail never doesn't suck, guys. Being in jail sucks, dude, on every level. Dude, I mean, I've been in holding cells for 36 hours waiting to get bailed or bonded out. Even that sucks. The best part of jail is the holding cell. You still have your clothes on. You're actually getting pretty decent food. You can make as many phone calls as you want till you get out, or they take you upstairs. But even that sucks. You got to pee in front of people. You got to shit in front of people. It's fucking terrible. If somebody takes a shit, everybody smells it, and they don't come and open up the door. Like, jail never doesn't suck, guys.
And that's good to learn, but it's actually crazy. The larger psychological analysis of it all. Everyone lives inside their own minds, right? So it's kind of crazy. I came out of jail, and some of the first messages I got from people was them complaining about the problems me being in jail had given me. Like, you think that wouldn't happen, right? You think, oh, you come out of jail, people would be like, oh, are you okay? They're like, oh, you're okay? You're out now? Okay, yeah, well, listen, Mo. You'd be amazed. You'd be amazed. And I'm like, I was in jail. What do you want me to do? Yeah, that sounds unfortunate. I was in a jail cell. What do you want me to do about it? It's kind of crazy how much everyone's kind of self-interested. So it's been a learning.
Hey, Darley, what's going on, brother? How you doing, man? Darley, if you would, man, give me an update on the situation with old girl. I remember, if I remember correctly, and I usually do, you had what we all thought was a unicorn. She's a virgin, submissive, etc., etc. I kind of pushed back a little bit, so if you're comfortable with it, give me an update in the chat. I'd appreciate that.
You learn a lot about a lot of different people, and your circle gets smaller. And I think that's probably one of the
Yes, gentlemen, my memory is ridiculous.
reasons God put me in there, to just learn a lot and make my circle smaller. And you just have to listen to him and pay attention to it and say, okay, all right, you're off, you're off, you're off, you're on, you're on, you're on. But my brother, I have to give him credit, because I tell you, I also think me and Tristan are one of the best teams in the world because we have different roles inside of our brotherhood. My role is to be concerned and to panic. Not panic, that's the wrong word. I never panic. My role is to be concerned and try and fix the problem. I'm in jail, pacing up and down. How do we get out? And Tristan's role is to not care. And together, that helps us achieve the objective best. Because when we really need to get out, I'm in charge. His role is to not care.
Look, PBD loves it.
Yo,
PBD loves it, dude.
When it was at the height of frustration, I needed his superpower. Tristan's superpower, and this is his superpower for life, is he is the master of not giving a fuck. We would go to court.
Oh my God.
Imagine this. You're in jail, right? Weekends were the worst. Because the TV was worse on weekends for some reason. Like you had to do three channels. And the weekends were the worst, and you could hear out the window everyone having fun. I hated weekends. So when a Friday would roll around, I'd say, okay, Tristan, we just have to zen away the weekend. And on Monday, there's court. We just have to zen away the weekend. So for the weekend, we just sit there staring at the wall. Intrusive thoughts, can't sleep, all those things you're trying to get out your brain, just sitting in silence because the room's tapped, just staring at the wall, And you think...
Did he just say the room is tapped? Dude, they don't fuck around over there, do they? They do not fuck around over there, man. You have got to be kidding me. They tapped the room?
Monday would never come. And Monday would eventually come, right? Or Sunday night comes, and 8 a.m. on Monday, they're going to take you to court, and they might let you go home. You've done nothing.
King Life says, Tristan got good hair still because he don't give a fuck. Yo, listen, I would bet any... and I say this tongue-in-cheek, but I would bet any amount of money that Tristan Tate's hair did not move one time in jail. Tristan Tate had the best hair in the Romanian prison system for all of, 3-4 months.
This person in this room can decide if you go home. And it's Sunday night and you can't sleep and you're awake all night long. There's no clock, but the seconds feel like hours. You're just sitting there. Eventually 8 a.m. comes. Put you in handcuffs, walk you to the court. You walk in there, everyone speaks Romanian, don't have a clue what's going on. Right. Everyone's just talking at each other in Romanian. Then they say you'll get the answer in 3 hours, go back to jail. When I went back to jail, I was sitting in the room. I was like, do I pack to go home? No, that's too optimistic. Okay. But you're nervous, you're anxious. Am I gonna go home? Is it over? Do I get to go home? I called the lawyer, do you have an answer yet? No answer yet, okay.
Dude, I couldn't imagine this. Like this, look, listen, and you guys may have heard me talk about this before. The worst part about being incarcerated or in jail is not knowing. I would rather know I'm going to be there for a week than not know what's going to happen. I would rather know that I'm getting out immediately than not know what's happening. That is the worst part of jail, is the uncertainty. But every time I went to court in jail, after I was arraigned, whatever the case may be, I always got out because I was financially able to post bond. The Romanian prison system is different. I guess they didn't grant them bond. They just literally just held them there. No access to their money, their resources, nothing. So what Andrew's describing here makes what I went through sound like a vacation. This dude was picking cockroaches off of his food. I'm out here giving honey buns and ramen soups and cup of noodles to everybody in the cell.
In there, I could barely sit still. Tristan finishes court, walks straight into the room. It's a matrix attack, it's bullshit, I'm going to sleep. And went to bed.
Unbelievable.
Clean asleep. I was like, how the fuck are you asleep? He didn't care at all. He just went straight to bed. And then when he woke up like 6 hours later, matrix attack? I'm like, yeah, you thought so. And just rolled back over. Didn't.
Unbelievable.
But it's perfect for a guy like you.
But that's what you need. I need that.
I agree.
Because if I had someone else next to me as hyped as me, I would have gone insane.
I agree.
Oh, yeah.
I need someone like him who's just like, he had the superpowers like, bro, I love jail. Jail's great. Look, we got coffee. I love jail. None of my women are messaging.
Yo, Don DeMarco for Tristan Tate, man. Don DeMarco for Tristan Tate. This dude went to court. There's a possibility that you were going to go home, right? But Tristan somehow knew, look, dude, we're not going home, right? He's like, we're not going home. He showed up. He went through the motions. His hair was still looking good. Can I go back to my cell now? Cool. Goes back to his cell. Andrew, dude, now I'd be like Andrew. I'd be pacing around. You know, I'd be the one calling my lawyer. Hey, man, like, what's going on? What's going on? Shout out to Tristan Tate, because I could not do that. No way.
Me, I love jail. I'm telling you, I had 45 minutes on the phone a day, and I used all of my minutes.
Jesus.
Tristan never made a single phone call from jail.
Get out of here.
Not one. I was like, Tristan, do you want to speak to anyone? Nah. Sit there watching Romanian news. Didn't give a shit.
Unbelievable.
Like, bulletproof.
Unbelievable.
But the only reason he's so bulletproof that way is because he knows I'm doing the absolute best the other way. He couldn't be that way if I wasn't trying to get us out, because then he would try to get out. You need the yin and yang.
Yes.
So like when it was chill time, it was his mental frame, and when it was how do we get out of here, it was my mental frame. But Tristan.
Yeah, Lorenzo says Tristan is James Bond. Yo, that dude is ice. Like, I'm going to tell you what, man, there are a lot of people who are able to hold frame in any situation. But there's always a situation or two that kind of rattles your cage a little bit. Most people, if they were sitting in jail, not knowing if they were going to go home or not, would probably lose frame. I don't care if you're Donovan Sharpe. I don't care if you're MLD. I don't care if you're Myron fucking Gaines, man. Being in jail never doesn't suck. And to be able to have the mental wherewithal to just do what Tristan did, that, to me, that takes a level. I don't know, maybe it just came to him naturally, maybe he practiced it. But shit, man, I'd love to be able to not give a fuck like I'd love to be able to not give a fuck like Tristan Tate. I really, really would.
superpower genuinely not care.
Devin in the chat says, women, take note. A good partner doesn't compete with you. They compliment you. Stop looking for your equal. Very good. Joseph 5 on the Rumble side says, finally, you're on Rumble. Kratasama on Rumble says, react to Saint and the Sinner and MLD. Okay, I'll do some research on it.
I can't explain the level of how much it didn't affect him. He didn't bother
That
him
is
at
incredible.
all. I didn't see him sad, nothing. He was smiling. He didn't care.
You consider yourself a stoic. How much more stoic is he than you?
I just think we have different roles, and I think we've evolved into them over the time, because it's not just jail, it's with everything. That's what we are with everything. If there's a business problem, I'm the one who's like, shit, we have to fix this now, shit. And Tristan's the one like, Andrew, you are so ridiculously rich, chill. But we need that. We need both, right? But he couldn't be that chilled if I wasn't the way I was, because he wouldn't be successful.
Black Sunday just nailed it. Wow. Says Tristan Tate is like Kevin Lannister of Game of Thrones. If Andrew Tate were Tywin Lannister, don't you mean Tyrion? Okay. Tywin Lannister. Kevin Lannister knew his role and executed it to perfection. That is apropos. Very nice.
You need the opposites. So everyone goes, oh, you and your brother are so close. We're so close because we're actually very different people. But yeah, he was amazing in jail. And even afterwards, I still struggle to sleep. He sleeps fine. Because I think my experience of jail was a far more stressful one.
Yeah,
because
of course.
But I adopted that. Now, I'm not saying I couldn't have done what Tristan did. I could have done what Tristan did. If I were to
Right. Andrew could have done what Tristan did if Tristan did what Andrew did, and that's where the balance comes in.
go into jail and say, your MO is to not care, I could not care. But my MO was, how do I get out of this matrix attack? So I was the most stressed I've ever been in my life. So that's carried over. So I don't sleep. He sleeps fine, but he slept fine in jail. So why wouldn't he sleep fine now, right? So yeah, it was interesting, but I have to give him props, because it's amazing to have that level of clarity. And he said things which were absolutely and utterly true, things I already knew, but it was nice to hear.
I want to ask you a question on this. So I have two boys,
Yeah.
right? And one day they're going to watch this. They're not going to watch it right now. They're 11, 9, but they're one, they're going to watch
Yeah.
this, right? And in school, you know, I'll go and the kids that are, you know, 11, 12, 13, they're like, you Andrew Tate, you know, how was that interview? Oh my God. So
Dude, PBD's kids are probably celebrities at their school because they know that their dad is cool with Andrew Tate.
8-year-old kids are watching these types of content, but that's pretty wild where they're at. But here's a question about brothers. There's a lot of brothers out there. As a father, there's certain principles I'm teaching them, okay? One, if you can speak from the idea of how your bond was built based on a man, your father, Emery, injecting certain values and principles in the two of you. You guys better do this. I don't want to see this. And then which part of the code did you guys create? Because there's friendship, but there's brotherhood. It's a very different story.
Right. Absolutely.
How was that developed?
Yeah.
This is why PBD is where he is. He is an excellent interviewer. He asks very good, thought-provoking questions. I've never really watched PBD until I started making appearances on Saucecast.
So my father, and I have endless stories about my father. A lot of people who dislike me would call him an extremist. I don't think he was an extremist. I truly believe I had the best father on the planet.
Attaboy.
And from a very young age, he made it clear. He said, look, you're Tates and you're going to have enemies. You're going to have people who are against you. Your best bet is to be a team. So
Right.
whenever me and Tristan would fight, which happened, we got put in a room together. And we had to sit in that room. And my dad would say 3 hours or 4 hours in silence. He'd sit us down in the room, here, looking at each other.
This is
and
a great
"If I
story."
hear a noise, I'm starting the time again. And we'd have to just imagine, you know, when you're a kid and you fight and you're furious and you're so mad, and then you end up sitting across from the person you hate, silent, because if you make a noise, Dad gets mad. Dad's outside, right? So just sit there, 2 hours, don't make a noise. We'd just stare at each other, and over time we thought every time Dad was home, we just stopped fighting because it wasn't worth it sitting in this isolation, weird, silent stare thing, because that's what happened.
That is I'm gonna tell you what, man. That is a very, has anyone ever heard of that particular strategy to stop your kids fighting? Has anyone ever heard of that? That is incredibly introspective and wise of their father. Because what he did is, number one, he stopped the boys from fighting. And guys, listen, man. I mean, if you have brothers, you're gonna fight. That's just part of life. You know, dude, me and my brothers growing up, dude, we fought all the time. We hated each other. We loved each other. There were a lot of black eyes, bloody noses. I remember one time my brother gave me a black eye. You know, it happens. It is what it is. But that is a very brilliant way to keep and incentivize your kids from fighting. Very good.
Repeat.
James Wingate with the $2 super chat. The reason I Don DeMarco, James Wingate, and you want to know something, James? You know what? Congratulations, James. Congratulations to TSR Tower's newest moderator. This guy super chats. He super thanks. He sends me money on PayPal and Cash App. He does all the time. He supports everything I do, no matter what people say. So shout out to James Wingate, man. You definitely earned that, Wrenchman, and I appreciate your support over the last few months, man. It really means a lot.
5 times and we just stopped fighting. We'd fight all the time when Mom was home, and when Dad would come home, we'd literally just look at each other like truce. Like, we don't want to sit and do this thing we had to do.
Yeah.
There you go. Jay Blaze says, usually after a fight, men are closer. 100%. 100%. I've only lost 3 fights in my life. Only 3. And I was at least cordial with all 3 of them after that. Right? When you throw hands with a man, something about interpersonal combat with another man, it kind of bonds you, right? Like, you guys know how it works. You guys watch an MMA fight or a boxing match, and I'll use one perfect example: the Arturo Gatti versus Mickey Ward, the Gatti versus Ward trilogy. After dude, those two fought wars in the ring, and after every fight, they would throw their arms around each other. They're exhausted. They beat the crap out of each other. But when it was all over, they throw their arms around each other. Conor McGregor be talking trash about whoever his opponent is. Win or lose, there's a mutual respect. That's something that now, that isn't always the case, right? When and if I ever box Abba and then Preach, after I beat the shit out of them, I'm not going to be cool with them. I'm just not going to be. Because I know neither of those guys, they don't have any balls, they don't have any integrity, and quite frankly, I just don't like those guys. Those guys are snakes, etc., etc. But when you throw hands with a man over some bullshit, you can't help but have a mutual respect for one another. James Wingate with the $2 super chat says, no problem, Donovan, supporting content I like. Appreciate that. Dre Raven says, my first concussion, got in a fight with a teammate after a soccer game, tried a flying kick and socks afterwards. The 2 of us were good friends all through high school. I'm trying to tell you, Black Sunday. Now, Black Sunday actually made a very good point, except for against Khabib. Yeah, that was fucking madness. That was dude. I remember watching it. And Devin will tell you, I talked through everything. When Khabib jumped out of the octagon, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. Anyway, let's continue.
So we became a team, and then I think it evolved from there because there's always been a hierarchy. I am the older brother. I'm the bigger brother. He does respect me for that.
JB84 said, you're supposed to fight Preach. You can have Abba. Nah, Abba's too easy, man. I want Preach. Preach is a better fighter than Abba. I don't think, dude, Abba's never been hit in the face in his life. Abba would never get in the ring with anybody. That fucking fat tub of lard. Fuck him. I want Preach, goddammit. Abba can be the special guest referee.
We both have opinions.
Secondhand truth, my best friends are people I physically fought. Dude, when you fight or spar with someone like that, it bonds you, man. It really does.
But, it can be vetoed by me in the end. And we have our specific roles. My specific role is I'm the one who takes the most action. I'm the one who over worries. I believe, especially in business and many other things, I say it to all my staff. I say react. I said react fast, react early. Like panic early. Like panic now. I don't believe in waiting for things. It's just not who
if shit hits the fan, fucking deal with it. I agree.
I am. I can give you a million different examples. If my email processor, this happened just before my cancellation, said, oh, we'll put your account under review. You'll have an answer in 72 hours. As soon as I get that email, within 3 minutes, I'm like, get a new one. Get a new one. I've never waited for anything in my life and it worked. I've never waited and it worked out fine. Ever. Every time it's your canceled. Every time it's your deleted. Every time, so I'm like, no, get a new one now. Just get a new one. I need today's email out. Get a new one. We can't get a new
Ain't
one.
that
They won't accept
something?
us. Build one.
They always tell us in certain situations, they always tell us the best things come to those who wait. And yes, I did see the Gotti Mayweather melee last night. Like, what the hell? Dude, what is happening? You want to know what's happening? You want to know what's happening? I'll tell you what's happening. Here's the reason why. Khabib, the Khabib McGregor thing went off, as well as the Gotti Mayweather melee. Men are too emotional, guys. Men have become way too emotional. Do you think that melee would have happened after Hagler Hearns? Do you think that melee would have happened after, Hagler Leonard? No. Man, Aaron Pryor, Alexis Arguello? No, that does not happen. Do they have a natural disdain for one another in the spirit of competition. But afterwards, you're still men. Nobody died, you're both still upright, depending upon the fight. And everything is cool, man. But now we got what is happening? Why in the world did John Gotti, what was his name? Kenny Bayless completely lost control of the fight because John Gotti was trying to get around him to get the Floyd. What are you doing? Guys, this is why this is why I say people like Destiny and Melina are dangerous. Be emotional, be vulnerable, let your emotions rule you, etc., etc. It's incredible. Like post-fight stuff, I remember, and somebody please remind me of this. I think it was definitely, oh yeah, I love boxing. As a matter of fact, and I don't mean to get too off kilter, I probably watched 2 to 3 old school boxing matches a day. I watched Buster Douglas versus Evander Holyfield earlier. That fight lasted all of, 2.5 rounds. I think he knocked him out with 1:15. I've also got slated. I'm also going to watch another one, and I forget which one it was, but it was fairly recent. Mike Tyson versus Larry Holmes. I'm going to watch that fight as well. So yeah, I love my boxing. But there was one fight, and somebody can look this up for me because I can't quite remember. The guy, I have no idea who it was, but the guy won in a unanimous decision. He was just really, really hard to hit. And so, after the fight, guys are taking off their gloves, blah, 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 blah. And so they go to shake hands after the fight, and the loser of the fight sucker punches the guy who won the fight. Like sucker punched him. Now, of course, that's assault because, yes, you have a boxing license, but you don't have a license to assault someone outside of the 3-minute rounds. The Nevada State Athletic Commission gives you a license to assault another man, but you cannot assault them outside. Now, of course, sometimes you get the pushes and the shoves at the weigh-ins. That's, a lot of that's for show, etc., etc. But you can't touch the opponent. You can't be hitting the opponent. Every once in a while, there's, some action after the bell. Okay, they let that go. Adrenaline's up, tempers fly. But, dude, that is crazy. That is incredible that he sucker punched this dude. What are you thinking? So if somebody could look that up, and I remember, I can't imagine that guy ever having a license to box again. That's what emotional men do, guys. Neil McCoy with the $10 super chat, appreciate that, says, my nephews are young and know all about TATE. TATE can help a generation of young men regain their masculinity and awareness of female nature, and this terrifies the elites at the top. You better believe it. You better believe it. Let's continue.
So in a day, we built.
Yeah, somebody look up that fight for me. Black Sunday says, remember Bo versus Galata? Yeah. Andrew Galata won the fight against Riddick Bowe's nutsack.
I'm the panic fast and early guy. Tristan's the complete opposite, and that makes.
Black Sunday said the sucker puncher is serving life for killing Max Kellerman's brother. What? Dude. Okay. Yeah.
So
wow.
Perfect synergy, and I super need him, and I need his energy, especially in jail. Man, he was fantastic in jail. He was like, Andrew. I'm like, what? He goes, if when you were 18, they told you could be one of the richest, most famous men on earth, with street cred in every single city that knows how to speak.
James Butler Jr. That's him.
All you had to do was sit in jail for 2 months.
Wow.
Would you have taken it?
Hell yeah.
Yeah. He goes, and what the fuck do you care for? So true. Nobody took it.
See that?
He goes, I know
he's the only person that can talk to Andrew like that because he's his brother.
He says that what kind of man hasn't been to jail? That's what he's saying. He's saying, what kind of man hasn't been to jail? He loved jail. He was like that all the time. He goes, what kind of man hasn't been to jail? Of course I've been to jail. I'm Tristan Tate. Of course I go to jail. But he didn't care. And his energy was amazing to tap into. But we both understand that neither of us could be us without the other one's polar.
That's true.
And that's why we live together. That's why we'll always live together. I've had a lot of like women try and say, why do you still live with your brother? Why don't you want to live with me? Da-da-da. And I try and explain to them that, one, I don't think I can be my most competitive without him. Two,
that's
I'm most
interesting.
emotionally stable with him. I like the idea. I'm most competitive with him. I'm my best version of me. If it doesn't matter if I have to go into a fight, doesn't matter if I have to run a business, I'm better with Tristan by my side than I would be by myself. And three, my ideal family life, even my ideal family, the way I live my life now, is very much more like a clan than a nuclear family. I like me, my girl, my kids, Tristan, his girl, his kids, my cousin, his girl, his kids. I like this idea of lots of...
This is the way it used to be, guys. This is the way it used to be. And like what he's describing here, like the Duck Dynasty clan, right? The Robertson family, they all live together. Dude, cousins, uncles, brothers, moms, dads, I mean, dude, like that's the way it's supposed to be.
People, I like that. I like that feeling. So girls say to me, well, you don't want a family. Like, no, I want a family bigger than you want.
Yeah.
I just don't want to just sit with you. I want a lot of people around me, and I think it's better for that. And I think it's better for the children especially also. I think they enjoy it more. But yeah, I've got the best.
Seeker of Truth with the $5 super chat. Appreciate that. Guys, take advantage of the super chats, man. If you're going to super chat, at least tell me something. Get your money's worth. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Brother on the planet. I truly do. And this is why I'm saying some of our best days of our lives were in jail.
I was going to ask you that. You guys live here in this compound. It's an amazing place. I was going to ask you, you kind of just answered it, but you foresee yourself living with your brother the rest of your life?
1,000%. 1,000%. I can't imagine not wanting to live with Tristan. If you want privacy, you have privacy, right? We have a big house. So it is what it is.
You're on one wing,
yeah,
he's on the other wing.
It is what it is. But I can't imagine him not being around. If there's a problem, I just shout his name. Or I just can't imagine it. And I know I'm my best self. Also, there's the overall male competition, the masculine competition that exists between us and between all men.
See, this is why this is why Myron and Sneeko have adopted, and they're right. Living with a woman makes you soft. It does. Well, I'll put it this way. Living with a woman makes you softer. But if she doesn't make you softer, you're with the wrong woman. Like, your woman has got to be soft. She has to be a soft place to lay her head at the end of the night. You can't be, you can't have a woman that's competitive all the time. A woman who acts like she's masculine, right? Your woman is supposed to be soft. She's supposed to be a calming influence on you. Well, hey, that tends to make a man a little bit comfortable, and he loses a little bit of his competitive edge. So I understand the mental and the physical competitive side of living with his brother no matter what. I like that. Luke, Red Pill Perry with the $10 super chat says, speaking of snakes, MLD was ambushed by a snake. Okay, what snake was that? I guess I need to find out. I guess I need to brush up on my MLD stuff. I might need to talk to John.
So we live currently here. We got me, my brother.
Jay Blaze nailed it. Says, look at Destiny. He's sharp because Melina is basically a man. Yeah. Why do you think Destiny is so twitchy all the time? Why do you think Destiny is? He's always on edge. He's always twitchy. He's always he talks fast because Melina is not a safe place for him to lay his head. Melina does not make Destiny, I guess, soft. Right? She does not make Destiny. This is why Destiny's so twitchy all the time. This is why he's always running off at the mouth. He didn't have a woman at home. Weaponry Fitness said Saint snaked MLD. Oh, Saint and the Sinner. Oh. Okay, well, I guess I have to. Black Lemur says he's referring to Adam. All right.
My brother's personal trainers here. We got camera guys here. We got war room guys here. We got loads of guys here. But I can give you a million examples. There was a record set next door of a gym, and there's a stair machine, and there was a record set of 188 floors within a time frame. I came along and smashed it with 198. I only held the record for 45 minutes because someone beat it with 202. As soon as the record's beaten, everyone gets pissed off and puts their trainers on, puts their shoes on. As soon as it's beaten.
Stephen Sharper says, can y'all stop using acronyms?
Nope. And everyone gets mad. Who beat it? Who beat it? And everyone goes and did it. And that's how you push yourself to the level you never thought you'd be able to push yourself.
202?
202 floors in 30 minutes. Good luck.
202
no,
30 minutes.
No, that's what that was beaten with. Now it's 222.
Whoa!
Beaten again. I don't know if I'll ever get to that. But I'm still 198. I got to try again. But the point is, when you have men around you, there's that natural masculine competition.
Keep an eye on Steven Sharper. He's giving off troll vibes. Keep an eye on him.
And that's what drives you. If you're going to be the best version of yourself.
Oh my God. Jay Blaze says, Destiny knows he's living with a feral animal. She will rip his throat out in any moment of weakness. Yes. Dude, that's the perfect analogy. I said last time, Melina is absolutely feral. And when you live with dude, Melina fucks whoever she wants, whenever she wants. She takes dumps in woods. Yeah. That's not, listen, I mean, Destiny basically lives with a man. That's why he's always on edge.
Even if you're a boxer training for a fight, you train with a team. You train with other boxers.
Yes. When you are in training camp, there's not women around. When boxers go to their training camp to get ready for a fight, they don't bring their woman. They leave their wife and kids at home so that they can focus and do man shit. Mick said it to Rocky in Rocky 1. He's like, yo, women weaken legs. He's like, dude, we're getting ready for a once-in-a-lifetime shot against the undefeated heavyweight champion, Apollo Creed, and you're fucking this pet shop girl? Like, dude, get your head in the game.
You train with other boxers or other trainers. If you're on a football team, you're pushed by your team.
Yes.
I think life should be the same, right? Imagine you took the normal average man and
Mike Steele says, Melina might pull an Amber Turd if she gets pissed enough. What makes you think she hasn't already? Trav P39 with the $10 super chat says, Donovan, when can we see you back on Fresh and Fit? That episode with you and Tommy Sotomayor is still one of my favorites. I'm thinking late July, early August. It's gonna be a while. It's gonna be a while before I'm back in Miami. I've had a slew of minor health issues. Had COVID for the third time. I just had my, prostate basically rearranged. But I would say in 8 to 10 weeks. But we will be there soon.
moved him into a house of 5 people, and you had a philosopher and a fitness expert and a hypnotist, whatever it was. That will make him a more competitive person overall because he's trying to compete with all the other people who are on his level. You don't want to take bitch position. So I don't like the idea of my life without masculine competition. That's what I'll always say to my brother.
And if you
So Steven Sharper says, lost respect for Tate when he lost the debate to Piers Morgan. It was pathetic. Steven Sharper, my friend, you are the type of man who needs Tate more than ever. Anyone who says he lost the debate, you didn't watch the debate. I didn't watch it. Piers Morgan, and it's funny because your dumbass doesn't realize that Piers Morgan now has more respect for Andrew Tate since their two conversations. Since their 2 conversations, yes. Why are you here, Steven? You're in here talking shit about MLD. You lost respect for Andrew Tate. All right, well then get up out of here. Nobody ban him. Nobody time him out. I just, are you just here to troll? Are you here for attention? If you lost respect for Tate, my friend, you lost, fam. You lost. And if I were you, I would seriously start rethinking my life choices. I would really, really start rethinking my life choices. Men like you need Andrew Tate. Next time, I would strongly advise you to go back and listen to that interview. But you probably didn't. You're just, it is what it is.
met a girl one day who says, Tate, I want to have your babies, live with you. But it's kind of weird.
All right, that's it, Steven. You're out of here. He says, I'm here for the truth. No, you're not. You're here to troll. Fuck out of here. You're here for your truth. Give me a break.
That your brother's here.
Steven Sharper is the type of dude who says, I lost respect for Donovan when I found out he's into gardening. Got it. Have a nice life, Steven. Good luck with everything.
What would you say to her?
Yeah, a few of them have said that. I offer some degree of compromise. I'm like, look, we can have our own house separate if you really want, but I'm going to be spending a lot of time at that other house, including nights over. I want to
Yeah, Steven is a Destiny guy. It might even be him.
stay with where my brother is.
So you would compromise a little bit, but he's going to be living next door or with you.
100%. And I don't think, and that may be unusual in the Western world. I don't think that's unusual in many places.
I love that, by the way.
Well, you talk about this all the time.
Oh, you don't even know how much I love that. Yeah, I love that.
Oh,
To
wow.
me,
PBD is
as
in
a
on
kid,
that.
that was a dream. Like, if you could, right next to each other, there's a family in our community, billionaire family. They live right next to each other. The oldest son has the biggest house, 12,000 square feet. Then the youngest son has the second biggest house, 8,000
Wow.
square feet, and the parents
See,
live in a
that's a
6,000 square foot
dude, I
house
like that.
right next to
Absolutely.
each other. Okay, the two boys have 4 kids. The 8 kids are always together.
Absolutely.
There you go.
What a great
That's how-
environment.
Absolutely.
It's a dream environment.
Absolutely.
I can't see how a person wouldn't buy into that, the benefits of it.
And there's
I'll tell you what, man. Some of the some of my best childhood memories were when me and my family, when my folks were still together, we lived on McGuire Air Force Base in New Jersey, and some of the best memories of my lifetime was when my cousins Dennis, Kyle, Tiffany, and Melissa would come and visit us. It was 9 of us. For like, dude, and they'd come and spend summers with us. Like they would spend half the summer with us and on McGuire, then we'd spend the other half of the summer there in West Philly. It was awesome. We felt, I mean, this is West Philadelphia back in the, early 90s. Wasn't the best place in the world, but there's 9 of us. You know what I mean? Like we were a clan. I like that a lot.
also benefits for the relationship, because I think you have a better relationship with your woman if she can go and talk with other women and be with
100%.
women, and I'm with guys, and then you're together sometimes and you can split it out. I think it's better for everybody. This whole idea of just man, woman, boom, child bang, I understand where it's come from. I'm not saying it's all typically bad, but I do think that in those scenarios.
Trappy39 with the $5 super chat says, if Kevin Samuels were still with us, do you think he would have done a sit down between him and Tate? RIP to the GOAT. Yeah. Kevin was a savvy businessman, and he was definitely an opportunist. He absolutely would have.
There's a lot of men who are
Clever coin. I like that. Infatigability. I love that.
particularly miserable.
Oh, God. Good God, guys. Here we go. I shouldn't have even said that. Here we go. All right. Hit me with it, guys. Hit me with the hit me with the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air jokes. Come on.
Particularly men, especially. And the idea of a clan and having that team around you, I love that. I wouldn't live any other way. I love living that way.
Well, being born and raised in Miami, there's a lot of Latin culture there.
Yep.
And, the American friends, they just move on their own. That's what they do. But in Latin culture, the abuela's living in the house, the family's living in there, the women are all kind of congregated together.
We could also
it's a different world.
We can also discuss it financially, right? If you're a man and a woman and you have 3 boys and they're, let's say,
The Level Up man says, was the playground where Don spent most of his days? Yeah, we actually were at the playground in the park quite a bit. You guys are killing me.
traditional, Western, whatever. They all go and pay 3 different rents, and they all move in
Yeah.
with their girlfriends, and everyone's getting wrecked, right? If you all stay together and combine your income, you also do much better financially. This is how a lot of immigrants even survived, especially Muslim immigrants in England.
I've heard you tell the story about
Oh,
Absolutely.
yes,
They all
yes,
stay together in one big
yes,
house.
yes,
they all
they
pool
do.
their incomes. You have a bunch of people with average jobs and Ferraris on the drive. And then they buy the house
Wow.
they're in, then they buy another. You pool the incomes. If you all split and separate and just spread out, you're just paying all different rents, all different electricity bills, and you just go broke. You have to think of the last name and the generation and the clan as a whole.
There you go.
So yeah, I love the idea of living with my brother. I'll never live without him. And yeah, his woman can move in, of course. His kids can be around me, of course. I'm uncle. Why not? I have no problem with that.
That's a dream. Let's transition to a couple other topics. So,
Dude, PBD said that's a dream, man. Like, yeah, dude. Yeah, I think PBD I think he's on board with that for sure.
I saw a video by the president of Microsoft.
Oh. Okay, so that is the end of the first module. Let us move to Tate number 2. And away we go.
Interesting question. Deep fakes are certainly going to change the world, because
Oh my God, deep
what we're going
fakes.
to have is we're going to have a post-truth society, and then the only way they're going to be able to tell you what's true or not is some committee which decides what's true and what's a deep fake, and then they're going to be in charge of the world, and then they're going to
Yep.
lie to you, and then you're really in trouble. So that's going to be very interesting. Once you get to the point where
Trap says, I wish Kevin would have liked Fresh and Fresh. The content would have been amazing. I think Kevin did like Fresh and Fit, but I think he saw them more as competitors than colleagues. And that was unfortunate. It was unfortunate. You should go check out my video about what really happened between them. Being caught in the middle of that situation, man, that was, whew.
what did I say earlier about not being able to trust your own eyes? They're going to take that away from us.
Right,
soon. Then
right.
what? Then you're really in trouble. In regards to AI, I think it has to be adopted. Inside of my school, Hustlers University, we teach AI with absolutely everything. A lot of the images we generate, even on my Twitter account, is all AI. And what's actually scary about the modern world is I don't consider myself old. I'm 36. But some of the children, I call them children, 17, 18-year-olds inside of my school, Hudson University, they're AI wizards, and they can do magic with this stuff. Magic.
Yeah, man.
Like they can literally, genuinely, Andrew Tate on the moon, and the image is generated in seconds. Like artists are going out of business. I thought AI would put truck drivers out of business. Artists are going out of business. Musicians are going out of business. It's kind of scary. I do like to think that with things like AI, there's always going to be some degree of natural separation between the men who are genuinely inventive and killers and the men who are more. Let me change the way I say that. I think if you're an exceptional person, a truly exceptional person, you don't have to be afraid of nearly anything.
Yep.
But you'll probably agree with this. In my experience, in nearly every business in the world, you have 10% killers, and then you have a bunch who want the paycheck. They do their job, but I wouldn't say they're killers.
You know, this is interesting. I remember, and I'm a big fan of Colin Cowherd. I don't agree with a lot of his political stances, but you know, he describes himself as a, you know, as a fiscal conservative and a social liberal, but I love Colin. He's a straight shooter, really makes you think. I remember he sat down with Tony Gonzalez and he said, what percentage, and this was amazing. He asked him, he said, what percentage of players in the NFL have Hall of Fame talent? Tony Gonzalez said 90%. Colin said, wait a minute, half the league is undrafted. You're telling me that there are undrafted players? Tony cut him off, said, yes. Yeah, 9 out of 10 guys in an NFL locker room have Hall of Fame potential. And so Colin said then, well, what percentage of those players actually put in the work to become Hall of Famers? Gonzalez said 3%. If you're in the league, if you are in the league, you belong there. Now, of course, different circumstances, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, wow, Andrew McCutcheon got his 2,000th hit. Good for him. Now, obviously, you know, injuries and, you know, outside stuff, whatever. But that, to me, was amazing because I've worked at plenty of call centers. And most of the revenue from call centers comes from the bottom 95%, right? But that top 5% makes up about 40% of the revenue.
You understand? Mm-hmm. And we lived in a society for a long time.
James Wynn gets said after one little fight, you moved to Bel Air. No. Unfortunately, I did not move to Bel Air. A lot of people would probably watch this and be like, no, Donovan was already in Bel Air because Donovan was Carlton. Oops. But suffice it to say that Alfonso Ribeiro, a.k.a. Carlton, has a little better love life than Will Smith. Just a little. Who's laughing now?
I didn't even tell you now. Sometimes when I hire, I'll say to my cousin or to my COO, I'll say, look, either get one killer or 3 normal people.
Oh,
because that's the reality. That's the basic. You need 3 people to half do the job, or you need 1 killer to do the job. And I think that those 3 people who half do their jobs, enough to not get fired, they turn up most of it on time, but they're not really that motivated. Those are the ones who have to fear AI. I think businesses in the medium term are going to become killers and AI. Wow. I'll tell you now, I have some guys who work for me on one particular company and their sales staff. I was reading through the sales scripts. The killers doing really well, but the average guys have said, you're not doing much better than ChatGPT could do right now. Ooh. I want to warn you that you're not doing much better that I could replace you with a machine today, let alone in 5 years from now, for free. You need to be careful. So I think it's just becoming more and more competitive. The idea that you can just be Joe Schmo, do your job, turn up, I don't try that hard, it's fine. I think that's all going to go out the window because as the world becomes more competitive, as a company.
This is weird, guys. I smell soy sauce. I don't know if I'm going crazy, but for some reason I smell soy sauce. I don't know. I'm going crazy. Sorry,
you have
guys.
to compete with your competitors, and the only way you're going to be able to do that is just where do you cut the fat? Where do you cut the slack? When I see AI popping up and getting more and more intelligent in the way it's talking, that doesn't scare me. But I have a way with words. If I was Joe Schmo, I'd be afraid. This Chat GPT can probably text your girl better than you can. He'll probably get laid faster than you will.
Right? Guys out there,
yeah,
you feel me?
Plug it into your phone. He'll do better than you do. So that's scary, you know?
That's really fucking scary.
I think that's what the average man.
Hey, man, I mean, I've been out of the game for a while, but, I mean, Let me know in the chat. Like, are guys using Chat GPT to talk to girls now? Like, is that a thing? Like, why not?
And really needs to struggle. And I've been saying this has been my message for a very long time in all realms. I've said for a very long time that life for the average man is going to get harder and harder. It's becoming more and more competitive. You need to find more and more ways to stand out and be unique. And the only way to really do those things, unfortunately, as a man, is to suffer. And that's one of the reasons I'm kind of glad that God put me in jail. Because if you look at anything that builds a man into a man, there's a degree of suffering. It's very hard to become a man and have a man who's respected and has stories and is capable when he only had a nice life and nice experiences.
There you go.
It's usually the things that made you the best version of you are usually the worst things that happen to you. So
okay, so the best things that happen to you are usually a result of the worst things that happen to you. Let me rewind that. I want to make sure I'm quoting him correctly, because this is very...
And
there we go.
Is capable when he only had a nice life and nice experiences.
Right.
It's usually the things that made you the best version of you are usually the worst things that happen to you.
There you go. There you go. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna deviate a little bit from here. Not deviate, but I'm gonna pull up a video. It's actually a pretty cool cartoon video. This details the very worst heartbreak of my life. Those of you guys who have followed me for a while, you guys know this story. Most of you do not. Most of you have heard, you guys have heard different versions of it, blah, 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 blah. But this is the complete story. And again, this is what really set me on the path I am now. Quite literally the worst time of my life. Worse than jail, worse than getting arrested. Here we go. When I opened my laptop to get all the birthday love from my Facebook friends, I noticed that my account wasn't the one on the screen. And like every red-blooded male, I decided to do some snooping around, and what I saw made me absolutely sick to my stomach. It made me wish I'd never looked. You guys are never, ever going to believe this story. You guys are never going to believe this. Back in the fall of 2008, I enrolled in paralegal school at a small community college in North Carolina. I was looking for direction in my life and had always been intrigued by the law. And because at the time I had neither the money nor the discipline to go to law school, I did what I thought was the next best alternative. One of the unexpected perks of being at a community college in a female-dominated field was the guy-to-girl ratio. That semester, I was just one of 4 men enrolled in the paralegal program. There were just over 60 women enrolled, which meant that for every 1 guy, there were over 15 girls. And what's more is that the vast majority of our female classmates were in their early 20s. A lot of them had just graduated from high school. And because of this, that first semester was one to remember. Even though this was a small community college, there were still plenty of off-campus parties on weekends, and those parties facilitated a lot of hookups. As much fun as it was hooking up with our female classmates, it did lead to a lot of unnecessary drama. And as you can probably imagine, things could get pretty messy between classmates. I may or may not have been involved in some of these myself. If I'm being honest, it was almost like being at high school all over again. But I digress. So the second semester rolls around and my first class is Civil Lit. After I took my seat, I caught the eye of a pretty girl who walked in and took her seat right in front of me. She had dirty blonde hair and blue eyes. She was wearing these super tight jeans and a shirt she had obviously cut to make sure everyone saw her navel piercing. This girl was what I would describe as nasty hot. Pretty enough to catch your eye, but dresses in such a way that says she gets around. Now, I was only 31 at the time and didn't have much experience with women. I had only been divorced for over a year, and because I didn't get raked over the coals, I was still as naive about women as I ever was. So I had no idea at the time that she was the type of girl I should have steered clear of. Her name was Amy, and she was the most beautiful disaster I had ever laid my eyes on. Her deep southern twang and her friendly legs were more than enough to draw me in. Well, it appeared that the feeling was mutual, because we started flirting with each other right away and did so on a regular basis. In my mind, it was only a matter of time before we hooked up. At the end of the week, our instructor gave us a pop quiz on the week's lessons, and the test was old school SAT style. You know, the ones where you have to fill in the bubbles? Well, I didn't have a pencil, so I tapped Blondie's shoulder and said, "Hey, you got a pencil I can borrow?" She said,
"Sure, make sure you give it back."
I can't make any promises, I replied flirtatiously. She said,
Well, if you do, I'll hold you to it.
equally flirtatiously. I was absolutely smitten by this girl. For the first time in my life, it appeared that a girl liked me as much as I liked her. Not only that, she was easily the prettiest girl that had ever taken interest in me. I almost couldn't believe my luck. Looking back, I realized that she was probably around a 7, but my inexperience at the time probably had her rated at about a 9. So I aced the quiz, and when Amy asked for her pencil back, I said nobody uses this but me. Got it?
Got it.
She says. I remember getting an adrenaline rush when she said this to me because she looked me right in the eye when she said it. And this wasn't just the type of look that said she was just acknowledging me. She looked at me like she liked me. A lot. So she says,
From now on, we are going to call this the magic pencil, and I won't let anyone use it except for you.
So I said,
Good girl.
Then she blushed, smiled, then whipped her head around. I honestly felt like I was back in high school. I hadn't felt this way since I was a teenager. It's hard to describe, but it was intoxicating. Well, as predicted, Amy and I dove headfirst into a serious relationship. Things moved very quickly, but neither one of us seemed to think it was fast enough. Hell, we told each other I love you less than a week later. We spent every waking moment together. And I mean that in the most literal sense. We were together all day and every single night. We would study during the evening, cook together, watch movies, we'd fall asleep on the couch together, and when we were in bed, we'd hold hands until we fell asleep. I mean, we did all that sappy stuff people do when they are stupidly in love. We even bought matching charms to wear around our necks. Mine was the letter A for Amy, and hers was the letter D for Donovan. I mean, we were inseparable. Amy also took great care of me. She would have my coffee waiting for me if I was running late to class. She would take notes for me if I had a migraine and wasn't feeling so hot. I mean, she moved heaven and earth to make sure I was okay. I remember this one time. I had mentioned to her offhandedly that I had forgotten to bring my lunch. I didn't really think anything of it because I figured I'd just eat a late lunch after school. Well, halfway through my legal research class, I get a text from Amy to come downstairs. And when I got there, she had a Whopper and Coke waiting for me and would not let me go back to class until I ate. I mean, I was absolutely enchanted by this girl. I had never dated a girl this pretty, who treated me this well, who loved me this much. I was head over heels for her. So near the end of the spring semester, Amy and I took a trip to the beach for her 20th birthday, and it was one of the most memorable weekends of my life. It was the weekend that we started entertaining thoughts of marriage and children. We were going to have 2 boys and 2 girls, and they all had names. We were going to live in San Diego, California, buy a house on the beach, and live out our days raising our children and being in love. My birthday was just a few months later, and when I opened my laptop to get all the birthday love from my Facebook friends, I noticed that my account wasn't the one on the screen. It was Amy's. And like every red-blooded male, I decided to do some snooping around, and what I saw made me absolutely sick to my stomach. It made me wish I'd never looked. Before I tell you how that fateful day changed everything, make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone who calls himself a man. I would also like to remind you that if you want access to tens of thousands of hours of exclusive content not found anywhere, go to patreon.com/Donovan Sharpe. There you will get access to audio and video versions of just about every episode I have ever done from the very beginning. You will also get access to my weekly Zoom calls where I do consultations, coaching, and give advice. Join our community of over 1,500 men who strive to dominate life at patreon.com/Donovan Sharpe. Link in description. Okay, let's go back to my 32nd birthday, shall we? So I took screen grabs of what I saw, put it on a flash drive, and drove over to Amy's place. I sat directly in front of her and said as carefully as I could, Amy, you know I love you, but I'm going to ask you something and you are going to tell me the truth. She looked at me in stunned silence and slowly nodded. I gathered my thoughts and said, have you cheated on me? Now, I expected her to completely deny everything. In fact, that's what I wanted her to do. Whatever crazy explanation she was going to give me, I was going to totally believe it and blindly put what I saw on Facebook behind me. But that's not what happened. After what seemed like an eternity, Amy said,
Honestly, yes.
Guys, I cannot describe to you the gravity of the shock and pain I felt at that very moment. To this day, I have never felt that kind of emotional pain. I still get a slight pang in my stomach just talking about it right now. After her revelation, I cried my eyes out, in front of her no less. And of course, so does she. She reached out to me to tell me she was sorry, but I pulled away and told her not to touch me. I got up, ran into the bathroom, and puked my guts out. Then I cried some more. I probably puked 1 or 2 more times, I don't remember, but it was all a blur. When I finally emerged from the bathroom, I yanked off my necklace with the letter A charm and threw it on her couch. Amy cried and pleaded with me not to leave, but I just couldn't deal with what I had just heard. That day at work, I could barely focus. My boss seemed to know something was up because he kept his distance and didn't really ask me anything. But all day long, Amy was calling and texting nonstop telling me she was sorry, that she'd never do it again, that she loved me, that it was a mistake, and that she wanted to make it up to me, all of the rest of that. It was extremely difficult not to respond because even though I was extremely hurt, I still loved her very much. Those feelings don't just disappear when you learn you've been wronged by someone you love. This is why I always try to be reasonable with men who reach out to me with revelations of infidelity in their relationships. It's easy for someone who is detached from the situation to say, "Just leave her, bro." But when I get that email or that message asking me how to deal with a cheating girlfriend or wife, I always think back to the very moment where Amy told me she cheated. This isn't to say that I don't advise them that that is not the relationship they should be in, but I'm a lot more empathetic in terms of the tone I take when advising someone how to pick up the pieces after discovering their significant other has been unfaithful. Anyway, towards the end of my shift, I finally cracked and called her. As expected, Amy was in tears. She apologized profusely, said she wanted to get married and be my wife, and said she had a surprise for me when she got off work. I took the bait. She came over later that night and brought me a cupcake with a birthday candle in it and gave me a card and a really nice watch I wanted. But the birthday surprises weren't over. Amy turns around, lifts up her shirt, and unveils a tattoo of my name emblazoned in fresh red and black ink on the small of her back. I was back in her clutches. Unfortunately, the damage had been done. Our relationship was never the same after that and was a far cry from what it ever was during that magical spring of 2009. I was always checking up on her, asking her who she was calling or texting, basically all the behaviors I now teach men not to engage in. As you can probably imagine, that got old with Amy very quickly. We got into some pretty crazy knockdown, drag-out shouting matches, and they happened on a regular basis. It seemed like every other day we were screaming at each other for some reason or another. I found out that she had been cheating on me throughout our relationship and that she had been doing a very bad substance that started with the letter H all summer long. I mean, this was a bad situation. But despite all of that, I was still hopelessly in love with her. And even though things were terrible between us, I still held out hope that we could get through it and recapture the magic we had back in the spring. As if all this weren't bad enough, just over a month after my birthday, her ex-boyfriend was due to get out of prison. And you won't believe what happens next. Amy woke up feeling nauseous and puked her guts out after breakfast. And if you're thinking you might know why this is, I can assure you that you are 100% right. So last week, I told you guys about my relationship with Amy and how it started. I told you guys that we met in paralegal class, hooked up, and got into a relationship that became very serious very quickly. I told you about how magical the spring of 2009 was and how we were the happiest couple ever. I also told you about the revelation of Amy's infidelity and about how it absolutely destroyed me. Well, today, I'm going to give you guys the conclusion of this torrid whirlwind romance and how it ended up sending me to the unlikeliest of destinations which would change my life forever. Now, I know you guys want to hear about Amy's ex getting out of prison, but I need to first fill you in on why he was there, how he got there, and where he fits into a story that's so crazy one couldn't possibly make this up. So after I found out Amy had been cheating on me our entire relationship, my life began a downward spiral that very nearly could have ended my life. The fall and winter of 2009, I became completely unraveled. I fell into a deep depression, dropped out of paralegal school, developed a Coca-Cola habit, was taking illegal painkillers by the handful. I mean, it was bad. I lost my job and my car because it broke down and I didn't have the money to fix it. To make matters worse, my roommate kicked me out because I couldn't pay the rent. Having no place to go, I ended up living with a couple of Amy's drugged out friends. They were a couple who were both in their 30s and both on probation for felony possession. And as you can imagine, the party favors ran rampant in this household. That's part of the reason I developed the party favor habit. The other reason is because Amy was an experienced user herself, and this was even before I met her. So let's rewind about 6 months before I lost everything and to a particular day when I had a really bad migraine headache in class. So we're sitting in Civil Lit and Amy noticed that there was clearly something wrong with me. She had a look of great concern on her face because she had never seen me like this. I was usually pretty talkative in class, but on this day I was as silent as a church mouse and had my head in my hands to shield my eyes from the light, because when you have a migraine, bright lights will make it much worse. Headache, I said to her very slowly to keep from saying too much as it would make this debilitating migraine even worse. Amy reaches into her purse and pulls out a large white pill.
Take this,
she said. What's this? I asked.
It's a Vicodin.
She replied.
Take this and your headache will go away. I promise you.
Now, the only time I can ever remember taking a painkiller that had to be prescribed by a doctor was after I had one of my wisdom teeth removed. But what I did remember was how effective they were. But let's take a moment and think about this, guys. This 19-year-old girl was young, nubile, and appeared to be in perfect health, which was par for the course for most females her age. But never once did I think to myself, what's a 19-year-old doing with Vicodin in her purse? All I knew is that I wanted my headache to be gone, so I completely dismissed the fact that Amy was carrying around a bag full of Schedule II party favors. Well, when we fast forward to the fall, what happened in class explained why she had been using the H-word party favor all summer long. You see, Amy had scores of red flags that I had been completely blind to simply because she was pretty and was paying attention to me. Amy's upbringing is the quintessential example of a girl with daddy issues. Her mother gave birth to her at 15 years old, and her father left soon after. He'd come back into Amy's mother's life from time to time, but he spent most of his daughter's life in and out of prison. He was physically Ibisuba spelled backwards, had a drinking problem, and couldn't stay out of trouble with the law. Eventually, he disappeared just after Amy's 8th birthday and was never found. Amy's mother was stricken with grief because she feared the worst, and because of this, she started drinking heavily, lost her job, her car, her trailer home, leaving her and her young daughter homeless. Over the next couple of years, they bounced from house to house, living with family members and friends. But Amy's mother's proclivities to commingle with men who had substance abuse problems and criminal records got them evicted on more than one occasion. Eventually, they were taken in by a woman who is a longtime friend of Amy's grandmother, who had a 28-year-old son by the name of Ben. Ben immediately took on the surrogate father role and looked after Amy. He helped her with her homework, made sure she got to school on time, and took good care of her in the absence of her father. So for the next 3 years, this patchwork family appeared to be making it work. Amy's mother checked herself into rehab and finally got clean, Amy's grades started to improve, and Ben just landed a great job at a company that had a government contract. Everything seemed perfect until one morning, Amy woke up feeling nauseous and puked her guts out after breakfast. And if you're thinking you might know why this is, I can assure you that you are 100% right. But before I tell you about that crazy situation, let me remind you to like, comment, and share this video with anyone with a Y chromosome. I would also like to remind you that I will be breaking down the most popular dating show, The Bachelor, every Monday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on SharpStream. SharpStream is my own private streaming platform where I can speak freely without the concern of getting deplatformed. SharpStream is available to all patrons $5 and up. So if you'd like to watch me break down this historic season of The Bachelor, which features a black man for the very first time, go to patreon.com/Donovan Sharpe. Link in description. Okay, let's get back to my story. So Amy wakes up one morning and pukes her guts out. Now she has no idea why, but her mother most certainly did. And sure enough, Amy found out that she was 3 months pregnant. Even worse, Ben was the father. As you can imagine, Ben was arrested soon after, but what shocked everyone was that Amy was absolutely devastated. She had fallen in love with Ben. Now, the laws currently on the books dealing with this particular situation, which I'm not saying out loud for obvious reasons, requires a mandatory 25-year sentence. But because Amy's testimony somehow convinced the jury that the situation was not what it appeared to be, he was only sentenced to 6 years. His release date, September 16th. 2009, exactly 45 days after my 32nd birthday, which happened to be the day I found out Amy had been unfaithful, which brings me to the end point I left off last week. The day that Ben was supposed to be released, I broke up with Amy. She was crushed, but at the time I was resolute. I was still reeling from all that I had discovered about her, and I knew that there was no way I could handle Ben being around and what that situation had the potential to do. Amy cried and pleaded and begged me to reconsider. She assured me that she was no longer in love with Ben and that she loved me. I wanted to believe her, but I had seen and heard enough to realize she didn't know who she loved, if anyone at all. So I went home and tried to move on with my life, but I failed miserably. I tried to sleep, but I just couldn't. I tossed and turned all night long because I just couldn't get Amy out of my head. The thought that she might be hooking up with Ben at that very moment was just too much to bear. So the next morning, I called up a friend of mine, somehow talked him into letting me borrow $800, and went to the jewelry store to buy Amy an engagement ring. As soon as I bought it, I called Amy and told her to meet me at the gas station we used to go to in an hour. And right on time, she pulls up with a couple of friends of hers. She gets out of the car, I get down on one knee and asked her to marry me. True story, guys, I'm telling you, you cannot make this stuff up. I borrowed money from a friend I knew I would never pay back to buy a ring for a woman I knew I would probably never marry, and asked her to marry me. To my great relief at the time, she accepted. Her friends swooned with delight at their newly engaged friend who is now a bride-to-be. Well, the next couple of months were quite literally the worst 2 months of my life. As you probably have already guessed, Amy eventually started sleeping with Ben, and things couldn't be worse. When she got pissed off at me, she would go and sleep with Ben. When she was mad at him, she would come back to me. This love triangle continued until one night she was arrested for possession. Remember the party favor couple I talked about earlier that I would eventually end up living with? Well, they were the ones that ratted her out. I didn't know she was in jail until I got off work. Her bond, $13,000, which meant it would cost $1,300 to get her out. And between me, her mother, and Ben, we didn't have nearly enough to get her out. So once again, I pulled a rabbit out of my hat and managed to borrow $1,300 from another roommate of mine and got her out. Amy thanked me profusely and swore up and down that she was mine forever. Until, of course, she started sleeping with Ben again. The devastation and heartbreak of this back and forth love triangle eventually took its toll. As I explained earlier, I neglected everything: my job, school, work, and eventually lost everything and ended up having to live with the very people who called the cops on Amy. And even then, the back and forth love triangle was still in full force until Thanksgiving night when Amy called me to tell me that her and Ben were now engaged to be married. Although I knew this day would eventually come, I was still devastated. I was broke, homeless, drinking every day, doing party favors, Schedule 2 stuff, and now I didn't have Amy. This, gentleman, was rock bottom. But believe it or not, it actually got worse. So on the morning of New Year's Day in 2010, I was in an alcohol and party favor-induced haze when we hear a knock at the door. When one of my roommates answered, there was a short, bald Jamaican man standing there. I had no idea who he was, but they most certainly did. The man walks in the door, points directly at me, and says in a thick Jamaican accent, "You don't live here, and if you are not out of here by 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, the sheriff is going to come and put you out." Having finally exhausted every resource I had access to, I called my brother and told him about my situation. He bought me a bus ticket to Atlanta, Georgia, where my mother and brother were living, sent $10 for me to eat on, and that was the last time I was ever a resident in the state of North Carolina. I wasn't really fond of living in Atlanta, having lived there before, and my second stint proved to be equally as disappointing. I knew I didn't want to stay in the ATL, but I had no idea where I wanted to go. I thought about Florida, maybe New York, but I was clueless about where to start the next chapter of my life. Well, a longtime friend I knew back when I was in college in North Carolina lived out in Vegas and had been trying to convince me to move out there for a few weeks. I'd never really considered living there because I didn't really think it was my kind of city. I mean, what could I possibly do in a city like Vegas? So one Saturday night, out of curiosity, I went to southwest.com to see how much a one-way ticket out there would be. I was in complete shock when I saw that the ticket was just $84. I sat there and stared at the screen thinking to myself, am I really about to do this? Am I really about to move all the way out to the West Coast? A few seconds later, I bought the ticket, not having any idea how this would turn out. And on July 10th of 2010, I landed in Las Vegas, Nevada, not realizing at the time that my life would be forever changed. When I think back to the terrible fall and winter that completely destroyed my life, I realize just how fortunate I was not to have been swallowed up by that armpit of a county in rural North Carolina. I could have been arrested because of the activity in the house I was living in. I could have gotten Amy pregnant. I mean, there were so many times where this situation could have gone completely sideways and severely and permanently wrecked my life. But only by the grace of whatever forces out there kept me from falling into this black hole was I able to escape that situation with my freedom and my life. People always wonder why and how I can speak with such conviction when I talk about relationships between men and women. And the reason is, I've had extensive experience. I've slept with more girls than I care to admit. I've been cheated on, cheated with. I've had pregnancy scares, love triangles. I mean, you name it, I've been through it. But the one relationship that did by far and away the most damage was the relationship I had with Amy. And to this day, I can freely admit that I have never loved anyone or anything as much as I loved her. Now, obviously, I feel much differently today. If I were to meet such a female these days, I'd have pulled a bang and bounce and I'd have been done with her inside of about 6 weeks, give or take. But the fact that I was able to emerge from that situation to not only survive, but to thrive and build what I have built today gives me a tremendous sense of pride. This is why I do what I do. This is why I tell my stories. This is why I teach men about the true nature of women. This is why I became Donovan Sharpe. Thanks for watching. And that, my friends, is that's my origin story, for the most part. So when Andrew Tate talks about the fact that men need to suffer, he's right. Now, I certainly didn't I don't know. That's a bad situation to be in. And I'm not going to compare situations, but that was the how can I put this? That was the time in my life that really helped to shape me. It really, really did. Wintrell says, "Did you see Amy again?" I have not seen her. No. The last time I saw her was Thanksgiving Day of 2009. Yep. So I haven't seen her since. And I guess believe it or not, long story short, so she marries Ben, and surprise, surprise, okay. So she marries Ben, and surprise, surprise, she starts cheating on him with this other dude, right? And so the story goes, now this is crazy. The story goes is one night, Ben gave her like $20 to go get the family some Chinese food. But instead, she took the $20, went over to the guy's house that she was cheating with. She either called or texted Ben and said, "Hey, I'm leaving you for this guy." So Ben loses his mind. He drives over to the trailer and he starts kicking down the door. And the guy that she was cheating with had a shotgun. He says, "If you kick down this door, I will shoot you." Ben didn't hear that, or he ignored it. Like his wife and child are in the house with this dude, right? Oh, the reason I know about this stuff is because a couple months ago, pardon me, a mutual friend of ours called me up, and she's like, "Yo, like you'll never believe what happened. Like, Ben is dead." And so he kicks down the door. He caught a shotgun slug to the chest. Killed him immediately. So Amy then has another daughter with this dude. So here's the extra fucked up part about this. Think about what that situation is. The father of her first child was killed by the father of her second child. The father of her first child was killed by the father of her second child. You guys know how that goes. Man. So anyway, you have to suffer. You have to suffer to be great. And that's what Tate's talking about. I agree 100%. Let's continue.
So the demons I carry from jail, the fact that I can't sleep. I've had girls say to me, "You can't sleep, you need to see a psychiatrist." And I said, absolutely not. I would be furious if a psychiatrist walked in here and took my demons from me. I don't care if they can fix me with a click. They're mine. And they were bestowed to me by God. And they are mine to deal with, and they are mine to fix, because that's how I become a better version of me. I would be furious if someone took them away from me. I'm glad I can't sleep. Good, I can train endlessly. That's why I'm bigger than I've ever been. I'll train I'm not going to waste a minute. But all the demons that have been given to me by God and all the problems that have been given to me by God are mine to fix. I would never, ever allow anybody else to take them from me. I'd be furious. Mm-hmm. If a psychologist came in and said, "I can cure you," I'd say, "No, thank you. I will cure myself. I don't care if it takes 10 years. I'll cure myself. That's my job."
Wow.
And I know that when that's done, I will be more mentally resilient than I ever would have been without jail.
Oh, that makes sense.
That's the whole point of it.
It's interesting. Therapy helped me to get a hold of my anger, and I had to do it, because if I didn't, I'd be in jail or dead right now. Right? But an anger issue and knocking people out, that's not, illegally, that's not a demon that Andrew Tate has, right? I agree with him in that you got to exercise your own demons, but sometimes you have to, trust other people. Wintrell with the $20 super chat. Come on, damn it. What the hell? There we go. Appreciate that very, very much. Scotty B with the $10 super chat says, "Showing love, OG." Appreciate that.
Right? so many men say, I want to be the man, but they don't want to suffer, they don't want to fight, and I don't understand why, because even if you look at a superhero movie, they tell you, even in superhero movies, they make it very clear, Batman's parents died, that's why he's Batman.
There you go.
All the bad things have to happen. There's no way to get there without the bad.
This is interesting that he mentions, Batman, right? Most superheroes had to suffer. Devin, the answer is yes. The answer is yes. Most superheroes had to suffer. But one of the most popular superheroes is Spider-Man. You want to know why Spider-Man is one of the most popular superheroes? Is because more Gen Zers and millennials can identify with that. Not really identify with that. It's like a wet dream. What did Peter Parker suffer to become Spider-Man? Nothing. He got bit by a radioactive spider, and he became Spider-Man, right? Andrew's about to talk about the fact that, hey, Bruce Wayne's parents were killed. That's why he's Batman. Superman, his planet blew up. He lost an entire race of people. That's why he was Superman, right? He's making a very, very good point here in that in order, pardon me, in order to become something, in order to become somebody, you have to suffer. That is part of the masculine burden of performance. You don't just become exceptional without overcoming exceptional circumstances. Yeah, Uncle Ben did die. He did die, right? But that was his uncle. You know what I mean? Like Superman or Batman's parents were killed in front of him. But you're right. You're right. But I'll tell you what though. Yeah, with great power comes great responsibility. I do remember that. But I can promise you that most people, most men, as weak as they are, as a whole, would probably rather go through the Spider-Man route. They're like, okay, yeah, I love my uncle. Yeah, I could lose him and put up with 24 hours of being sick to be Superman, or to be Spider-Man. Not to say that is, not to say that wouldn't be difficult by any means, but that's the easiest path to being a superhero. Just get bit by a radioactive spider and you got superpowers. He didn't really work for his powers.
Bad things. I get so many emails from people complaining about their bad things, and I don't have time to reply to any of them, but if I could, I'd say good. Good luck. Congratulations. Off you go. Of course she broke your heart. Of course you're sad. Of course you miss her. She's with me now. That's life. That's part of it. That's the only way you're going to get to that level of resilience. You can't become the man any other way. So yeah, I thank God for everything bad that's ever happened to me and all the demons. And I trust that he's not going to give me anything I cannot, in the end, decipher and deal with. In the end, I think it's a puzzle. And you decipher it and you work out the best way to deal with it. And you internalize the good parts. And you become...
Albert Garcia said you got to watch the original animated Spider-Man series and ask again if Peter suffered. I will tell, and I have seen the original. Peter did suffer, but it was not the reason he became a superhero. He became a superhero because something happened to him. He got bit by a radioactive spider. Batman was screwed up in the head. There's a big difference.
I'm a better and stronger and more resilient person for it. So I have to thank God for every single one of them.
Well, I mean, you got to go through shit to be the shit. That's basically what it is.
That's right.
And by the way, what you're saying is not a hypothetical. You talk about being the average man. You see this play out on dating apps these days. Have you seen what's happened, especially on Instagram and on all the dating apps, Hinge, Bumble, and out there? The top guys out there are getting 90% of the women, whereas the bottom guys, I think the stats are a third of men under 30 have not been laid in a year.
If being average is not acceptable anymore.
At all.
Nope.
It's not acceptable anymore. And it's not acceptable in the sexual marketplace, but it's also just not acceptable, I don't think, even in life anymore.
Period.
You have to diversify now so much to even protect yourself. The idea that you can just be a law-abiding citizen in a country and just work your job and be okay is gone. It's gone. If COVID doesn't prove that, I don't know what will.
Yeah.
Look at my situation. You have to diversify. You have to be smart enough that you have assets and friends and capability and lawyers and whatever all over the world now. That's the only way to protect yourself. You can't just sit within one jurisdiction and go, oh, well, but I don't speed, so it's going to be okay. I don't think it is. I think it's coming to a point where it's not going to be okay.
Wow.
And AI...
Being average is no longer going to be acceptable. You hear that, all you gamers? You hear that, all you gamers? Being average or below average will no longer be acceptable. Listen, I've caught a lot of heat for my post about, video games. Every time I speak out about video games, I always get this tsunami of guys just giving me all their cope, and this is my purpose, and this and that and a third. Look, man, Look, dude, I said it once, I'll say it again. Video games are awesome, but there is a big difference between gamers and people who play video games. Destiny's a gamer. The reason why Destiny's a gamer is because he gets paid for gaming. Ninja is a gamer. The reason why he is a gamer is because he gets paid a lot of money to play video games. But if you don't get paid to play video games, you're not a gamer. You play video games. That's the difference. I try to make time for video games. I just can't do it. I just can't do it. So I don't care who you are. Dude, if you are playing video games for more than 1 hour a day, you will never ever reach your full potential. And if that's not something you want to do, fine. That's fine. But don't get your panties in a bunch because you do what's easy. And I chastise that. I challenge guys who play video games. Try to cut your video game play in half. Try and cut your video game time in half. I promise you'll accomplish more.
It's going to make it harder and harder again for those average men. It's going to be harder and harder. I don't think the exceptional men are ever going to suffer from AI. I think we're going to use AI.
Do you think this whole Neuralink that Elon
Oh
Musk
my
has got
God.
the approval for the patent? So now the sale is going to be, look, no matter what you do, John, you will never be like Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
you take this
Scary.
Neuralink
Scary.
GT500/Tate, you're able to get upgraded to his
Jesus.
levels and think like him. And
Can you imagine this technology, guys? Can you imagine?
I'll think and do this and do that for only $49,000.
Yeah, Mr. Mister says, I'm a gamer, but I work hard for 12 hours a day. Yeah, look, yeah, there you go. If you work your ass off and you want to play video games for a few hours to wind down, I'm not mad at that. But it's ridiculous. Like, there are all these guys, gaming is my purpose. Guys, gaming is not a purpose. Playing video games is not a purpose. Playing video games is a hobby. Now, a very special few people can turn their hobbies into making a good living, but that's like 0.05% of people who play games. Sorry.
If you put
Scary.
this chip in your head, and we're going to offer this to you.
My mother always says to me, I'm glad I'm not young. And I'm
Oh
starting
my
to say
God.
that now. I'm glad I'm not.
You know what's interesting? Devin and I, we talk about this all the time. We talk about this all the time. We're like, dude, I'm glad I'm not a millennial. I'm glad I'm not a Gen Zer. Holy smokes.
Young. Because I'm telling you, it's going to be scary, right? Because the world is hyper competitive. Every single thing in the world is competition. I don't think people realize I'm a hyper competitive person because I understand that every single thing I want, somebody else wants. The girl I want, other people want. The car I want, other people want. The house I
good
want,
point.
other people want. The lifestyle, the jet, every single thing you want, somebody else wants. It's a massive competition.
Yep.
As a man, you have two choices. You either accept that as a massive competition and try and play the game, or you just try and pretend it's not a competition and live in perpetual failure. And it's going to become...
Did you hear that? Try to pretend it's not a competition and live in perpetual failure. Guys, a lot of guys are... this is the thing, man. And I understand. Men are walking away from relationships, and for good reason. They're walking away from relationships, and for good reason. But a lot of guys say, you know what? The best way to win the game is just to not play it. Okay. You might have won the game, but you're still miserable. Right? You might have won the game, but you are like, dude, you're still miserable, man. Video games never fulfilled anyone. It is a hobby that passes the time, nothing more.
hyper competitive, the world already is, you're not going to be able to compete with a person with a computer brain. So you're going to have it because you can't compete. Then once you have it, then who knows? Can they turn it off? I don't know. Can they turn you off? I don't know. Can they inject the slave mind programming directly through the chip?
Listen to this.
I don't know. That's scary. I would never want
Never thought about it from that angle.
to do that, but it's going to get to a point where you're not even a person without it. You can't function without it. You're a second-class citizen without it.
Competition then, though? What happens to competition then? Is it going to be whoever has access to the best technology, whoever has the
very
most
good
recent
questions.
upgraded version of XYZ Neuralink chip?
Absolutely, it's going to become scary. I'm glad I'm not young. I hope it doesn't happen.
I'm
while
telling
alive.
you, dude.
I don't know. It's going to be an interesting world.
Does it inspire you to want to have more kids, or you're like, that's indifferent? I'm gonna have the kids. I'm not worried about that.
I think I think in the 1700s they're probably saying the same thing. The future's over, and the future ain't that bad. So there'll be a way it will work out. I just have to instill within them the same values I have, and they'll find a way to work it out, and hopefully they'll be okay. But
PBD, you always say the future looks bright.
I can promise you, man, a lot of these basement-dwelling Sigma types, I know they fantasize. about having to play a game to save the world. I know these guys do. Somehow, some crazy force comes down. He says, I will destroy the world unless you defeat me at this game, and I am looking for a worthy opponent. All these losers, dream about the opportunity to actually save the world by playing a video game. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
I mean, you must be concerned. You've got 4 kids.
And again, video games are awesome, guys. They are great. But you can't get wrapped up in them, man. You just can't.
I would have 20 more right now if I could.
Oh,
I would
wow.
have 20 more kids right. I don't know how you feel about it.
Wow,
I'd have 20 more
PvP.
kids right now if I could.
Absolutely, absolutely love children. There's nothing bad about having children. The only thing I wish I did is start earlier. It's the only-
Mr. said, Ready Player One, fantasy. I'm trying to tell you. And Ready Player One was a good movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Devin, Jesus Christ, Devin has read more books than anybody I know. Like, Jesus Christ. And she read Ready Player One. Of course, the book is better, but yeah, every gamer's wet dream is the Ready Player One situation. You got the girl and, oh, God. It doesn't work that way, man.
The only thing I wish I did was
Yeah,
start.
well, listen, right now.
Did you hear what he just said? Did you hear what he just said? He just echoed. And by the way, shout out to MLD in the chat. Sorry about that, John. Forgot to shout him out. John actually said this on the on Saucecast when he and I were on together. Listen.
The thing I wish I did is start earlier. It's the only-
There it is. There it is. There it is. Listen.
If I could. I would have 20 more kids right. I don't know how you feel about it. I'd have 20 more kids right now if I could.
Absolutely, absolutely love children. There's nothing bad about having children. The only thing I wish I did is start earlier. It's the only-
There it is. There it is. He wishes he started earlier. That's what MLD says. James Sharpe says, I've learned game by becoming a student of the game perpetually. Your books have helped me, Mr. Sharpe. Thank you. The game/Red Pill is undefeated. Thank you for that, James. No relation.
The only thing I wish I did was
Yeah,
start.
well, listen, right now, I don't know if you know, if you need some inspiration, there's this guy named Al Pacino.
I saw that.
Who had a kid at 82.
Jesus
I
Christ.
saw was 29 years old, and De Niro had it at 79.
Wow. Well,
So it's never too late. You're
Ready Player One was a fascinating movie, man. I liked it. I like science fiction.
36. If you got the testosterone level of 32, I'm sure you can have 20 more kids.
I'll be okay.
Politics. Let's talk politics with America. You're seeing what's going on with the election.
Mm-hmm.
One of the vantage points you have is you're not there. It's kind of like it's your problem.
Okay, so let's move to the third module, because I know nothing about politics.
Inclination towards aggression. We need that to protect and provide. That's who we are.
Oh, yes.
We need that bravery. But having a bunch of depressed, sad men who have no emotional control is dangerous for society.
That's right.
I say this all the time. They try and pretend that I'm somehow dangerous for society by telling men to stand up for themselves and be masculine. Absolutely not, really not. When you tell a man to have no emotional control and be more feminine, that's a school shooter. A school shooter is not a man with masculine accountability. He's a man who's told, act how you feel all the time. Then he gets picked on.
Guys, I have said this forever. I've said this forever. People like Destiny and Melina and all these girls out here, I want you to be vulnerable, show how you feel, blah, 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 blah. No, the reason why women are governed by their emotions is because women, they can't really do much damage. Well, they can, but not physically, right? If a woman is feeling some type of way, if she's crying, now, listen, every once in a while you do get a woman who goes and she 187 somebody, right? But an emotional man is far more dangerous than an emotional woman. The most dangerous men in any society are men that are governed by their emotions. This is where school shooters come out. This is what school shooters are. That's the end product. Be vulnerable, show your feelings. Act out your emotions. How'd that work out for Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold in Littleton, Colorado? Columbine High School, huh? How'd that work out for Elliot Rodger? How'd that work out for Sung Wee Cho? How'd that work out for Alec Manassian? How'd that work out for Andreas Lubitz, who flew an airplane into the side of a mountain, killing all 150 some odd passengers over a woman? Guys, over a woman. This is why we tell and guys, look, even myself, I've been guilty of it as well. I'm not a 4-time convicted felon because I had emotional control. No, man. I got crazy and emotional, and of course, being drunk on tequila and high on cocaine probably didn't help the situation. But at the root, the root cause was I didn't have any emotional control. I didn't have any emotional control. And I know that the very first time I realized I was stronger than I look is when I fought this dude. Oh my God, I forgot what this dude's name was, but he wasn't like an NFL linebacker, but he was substantially larger than I was, right? He was doing something to try and impress his girl. Like, we're all out in the parking lot smoking a cigarette. He starts running off at the mouth talking shit. So, of course, things escalate. And I'll tell this story one day. Things escalate, so we get into a shoving match, blah, 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 blah. He swings on me and hits me. He catches he hits me the first time, right? He caught me first. Now, you don't feel it, and he didn't knock me out because, I don't have a granite chin, but I can take a punch. So I immediately shoot at him, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to bounce off this guy. I took him right to the ground. Mounted him, 1, 2, 3, and he was out. His right eye looked like Hasim Rahman's head or Fernando Vargas' head. Like, he had this, like, he was fucked up. Like, he was absolutely fucked up. And I was like, this guy was bigger and looked stronger than me, and I dominated him. I took a punch, shot at him, hit him 3 times, and ended the fight, just like that. That's when I realized I was stronger than I look. And so when you have that aura of invincibility, and you've got friends on the Vegas police force, and you've got money, and you're in with strip clubs, and this and that and the third, it gives you a sense of entitlement. A sense of entitlement plus money, drugs, and lack of emotional control equals a lot of trouble with the law. So, guys, I am a living example of what the lack of emotional control can do to a man. Now, fortunately for me, I've never had homicidal ideation, right? Not even to my worst enemy. Dude, Tony Johnson, whatever, right? But that's what happens, man.
For long enough. Throw on some drugs on top his psychiatrist gave him. Throw in a lack of a girlfriend, and he's had enough. That's where school shooting comes from. School shooting does not come from men being masculine. It comes from the absolute opposite of these things. And they know this. They know this very, very well. To fix society, we have to fix it at the most base level, the root level. I think America and most countries need more transparency and understanding of how things work. But when they're attacking the family unit, they're attacking all of these issues. Every issue you've just labeled all starts back down to the beginning. I really think the reason I would like to argue, and I don't know any of the statistics on this, in the 1950s, I'm sure there was prevalence of guns all around America, but there just wasn't the school shooting. Why? What was different? What was different in the years before that there is now?
No feminism.
I think it's just because children obeyed their parents, and their parents were a family, and there was a degree of responsibility that was instilled inside of people, and there's a degree of accountability, and there was a degree of honor and pride.
Great question.
There's a degree of honor and pride. Yeah. I'll tell you something now. I bet in the 60s, 70s, whatever, in any country in the world, people didn't want to do dumb shit because the family would be known as criminals. The last name would be tarnished.
Bingo.
Their son did this. You hear what their son did? There was a vested interest in all of it.
There you go.
Now you have a school shooter who's going to go out there, be a piece of shit and kill people, and then their parents are on TV, well, yeah, he was failed by the system. They don't even feel any shame.
It's not even his parents, Andrew. It's just his mother. It's his mother. That's who it is. School shooters are raised by single moms. Single moms don't know how to teach men emotional stoicism. Ergo, the mass 187s. It's incredible.
It's unbelievable. If one of my children or someone close to me did something that heinous, I would be disgusted. I would apologize just for the name alone.
Yeah.
There's no honor left. There's no pride left in the name. And this is what happens when you remove honor and pride from people. If you have no honor and no pride, nothing really matters. What matters anyway? It doesn't matter if you're out of shape. It doesn't matter if your kid's a piece of shit and a criminal. Nothing matters without honor and pride. And this is done on absolutely every level. I said this to Tristan the other day. I was actually saying we were driving, well, the other day, long time ago. I haven't left the house in a while. We were driving and I said even on the most base level, I said every building is ugly. Have you noticed that every new building is ugly? It's ugly. Tristan goes, yeah, it's all the same glass, big square, ugly building. In the 1400s, we built these ornate, gorgeous buildings. And now everything's ugly. Why is that? And well, I'll tell you why it is. It's because they don't want you to have any intrinsic attachment to a specific place. If all the buildings are beautiful in a specific town, you have intrinsic attachment to that town. You care about that town. You want good things for that town. You'll protect that town. You'll defend that town. What is that? That's a barrier. That's a parameter. If everything looks the same all the time, you'll just move. Who cares? Oh, they've messed up San Fran. Who cares? I'll move somewhere else. Let's move somewhere else. It's all the same. Globalism doesn't matter. It's all the same. Wow. Buildings in Berlin and New York, they all look the same. Where's all the beauty gone? When there's beauty, you have an attachment to that beauty. They want to remove all your attachments from everything. Even now, when they try and psyop you into, let's say, the way that models all look different than they used to before, right? Models all look different.
Victoria's Secret.
Yeah, and I was arguing this point.
Yeah,
Saying, oh, but that's because you have Eurocentric beauty standards. I said, no. I'm going to correct you, because I know you think you sound smart using the word Eurocentric. I'm going to correct you because you're a dumbass. Let me tell you what beauty standards are. Beauty standards, by definition, for something to be beautiful, has to at least be unique. If everything is beautiful, then it's not beautiful. If everything's beautiful, then it's standardized.
Right.
For you to take a model who looks the way they look without any effort at all, and they look like most out of shape, uninteresting people on the street, you cannot call that beautiful because it's standardized, you can see it everywhere. Beauty means it must have been difficult to obtain. Whether it's a building, it's difficult to make because it's ornate, or a woman who's trained really hard to have a beautiful figure, that is difficult. Difficulty and beauty are linked. You can't have beauty without difficulty. Woo! You cannot show me another model and tell me that my Eurocentric beauty standards are saying she isn't hot, because that's not why. She isn't hot because she's made no effort. She hasn't tried.
You know what's interesting, man? I think the reason why Andrew Tate is so good at what he does, I don't know why he's good at what he does, but the reason why he has such a following is because he, like, everything that comes out of his mouth, it's like we do clips and shorts, right? Clips and shorts, it's like a condensed version of the lessons we teach and the lessons we teach, right? The things that we teach, right? Dude, all of my highest viewed videos are shorts, clips, whatever the case may be. Andrew Tate is a walking, like, he's a 5-hour short and take. Everything that comes out of his mouth, it's like a condensed, concentrated version of the red pill. It's incredible. Like, everything that comes out of his mouth is profound. It really is.
That's why. And they're doing this with everything. Everything is ugly. Nothing has a standard. Nobody has to try for anything. No parameter. No baseline belief of what's true and what's false.
Here you go. No baseline belief of what's true and what's false. Destiny and Melina, everybody? Anybody? Destiny and Melina, all they do is question the truth. Well, what is a high value man? Well, that depends on your definition. Everything is subjective. It's ridiculous.
It's subjective. Your truth.
There you go.
No, there's the truth. There's no such thing as your truth. Right. And this is an attack on every single level. They're assaulting us from everywhere. Even the buildings they build are assaulting you, so you can't even just drive through a town and go, wow, look how much energy has been put into this place. I love this place. I will not allow them to do it to this place. Now it's just like, we can move there. Let's move there. They're all the same anyway. It's all a Starbucks on the corner and a 7-Eleven. Who cares? It's all the same. Why fight? Why fight for anything? It's all done purposefully. I'm telling you, call me a conspiracy theorist, call me crazy. I don't understand why an architect would now decide, who hires an architect? I'm going to build a building. Let me hire an architect to come up with the same sketch of the same bullshit building, which is already existing everywhere. How much did I pay him? Yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to build a skyscraper made of grass that looks like every other one. Is that it? We did all this 600 years ago. We built cathedrals, and now we build this crap? Why?
Right.
Everything is on purpose. It's all a psyop. It's all a psyop. When they put these models on there, the psyop is you don't have to try. You don't have to try at anything. Don't try. Doesn't matter. Just don't try. Wait for the government. We'll give you some food stamps.
Yeah, Jay Blaze says women also don't have hobbies besides dick. Yes, Rocky Savo calls this the hoe hobby theory. It's the hoe hobby theory, and I like it. I'm telling you right now, most hoes don't have hobbies. They really don't. You know what? Correction. Most hoes have what they think is a hobby. Some sort of art. They paint, they write poems, right? They have some sort of artistic hobby, and they're terrible at it. They're terrible at it because they don't do any work. They don't work at it. They're just not good at it. All they're really doing is trying to sort of circumvent the pain of taking too much dick and making art to justify it. That's why they suck at it. Another reason they suck at it is because they're always sucking dick. This is all there is to it. Jay Blaze says, women adopt their man's hobby. Exactly. I'll go downstairs tonight. Devin's going to be like, hey, NBA Finals are on. Let's check it out. Tomorrow night, she's going to be like, hey, the Stanley Cup Finals are on. Let's watch. Like, if we've watched all of our shows, Silo, From, Godfather Harlem, after we cycle through that stuff, she and dude, she watches auto racing with me. And I know, And I know she doesn't always, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but Devin and I watched the Daytona, we watched the Daytona 500, start to finish, all 500 laps. We'll watch races from beginning to end. So Jay Blaze is right. Your woman absolutely takes interest in your hobbies.
You'll be okay. It's
Participation trophy.
It's slavery. It's slavery.
Yeah, see that? She hates basketball, but she loves me more. So there you go.
When you need to do every single thing they say to eat, that's their end goal. That's what they want. It's slavery. They don't want you trying anything. Even going to the gym today is an act of rebellion.
I swear to God.
Even being in good physical condition is an act of rebellion.
Unbelievable.
If I put up a photo of me and I'm in good physical shape, there are people who write underneath it, "Oh, you're dumb. You train so dumb." They insult you for it. Like you're a bad person because you have standards for yourself.
Yeah, crazy,
That's
right?
the level of bug man they want to get you to.
Dio says, From is creepy. Dude, yo, From is fucking crazy. Oh my God. Cigar Man says you have to come to Formula One Miami next year. Dude, I'm gonna tell you what, I do well for myself, but like the concept, like, dude, if I go to the F1 race, I'm bringing my own snacks, fam, because it's like $500 caviar, $80 Coca-Cola. It's like, dude, it's expensive. Wintrell says she watches UFC with me and I've got her hooked on The Sopranos. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. One thing that I do like about Devin is she's very good at discovering good content. Like, she just has this talent. Like, I remember I came downstairs and I'm watching her watch this show where these guys are launching rockets in the air and they're sending up drones and doing all these experiments. I'm like, what is this? She says, it's the show, The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, and, these guys are, investigating paranormal activities, blah, 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 blah. Shade says, go to IndyCar. I do watch IndyCar, my friend. I absolutely do watch IndyCar. Did you see Alex Palou win that crazy street race? Oh, dude, listen, I know all about IndyCar, bruh. I know all about IndyCar. We watched the Indianapolis 500, who was won by, by Joseph Newgarden, who had the most unbelievable celebration ever. He managed to hold off last year's winner, Marcus Ericsson, to win the Indy 500. Oh, dude, listen, man, I'm a race guy. Me and Devin, we watch it all. We watch Formula One, we watch IndyCar, we watch NASCAR. Like, I'm a racing addict. Real talk. But yeah. And so so I came down and she's watching this and I'm like, wow, this is fascinating. She's like, yeah, this is only episode 3. I was like, okay, let's start at episode 1. I was hooked immediately. The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. I don't know how she does it.
Of course, these people will give up meat and eat the bugs and live in the pod. Of course they will. They have no standards. They have no self-respect, no standards. Of course they can live in an ugly building, a big, ugly matrix.
Yeah, that would be. Oh, yeah, go to an IndyCar event. Now that would be very cool. That would be very cool. These are on my bucket lists. I'd like to go to an F1 race, an IndyCar race, and a NASCAR race.
Pod. That's all they want.
Is it somebody has to sell you on that? Or is it going back to conditioning? Or what would it be? Is it
Good
someone
question.
selling you, or is it conditioning?
And it goes back to my original point about the family. I do believe that the reason we didn't have so many problems before is because I believe the families had standards. And some cultures still do.
Right.
I have friends who are Chinese. My dad, I cannot not get an A. That's just their culture. When my dad was...
Patrick Bateman says, shout out to F1. Ferrari is a joke nowadays. I don't know. I like both of their drivers. I love Charles Leclerc. I love Carlos Sainz. I think Ferrari's problem, not to get off topic here, but I think Ferrari's problem is their strategies. I think Red Bull is clearly the superior team. Red Bull, Mercedes, and Ferrari, that they're up in the bigger teams. But I think a lot of I can't tell you how many races I've watched where there's like miscommunication on the radio about when to box, right? Box. Like I remember I was watching this one race. Carlos Sainz was complaining about a suspension, and he's like, "All right, I'm just gonna have to deal with it." Blah 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 blah. And so he finally takes the lead. He overtakes Carlos Perez, and then box. And Carlos Sainz is like, "What? Like, what the, like, you want me to box? I just took the lead. It was incredible.
Alive, and he was teaching chess. My dad would charge $400 or $500 an hour for chess lessons. And towards the end of his life, he goes, all of my students are Chinese or Indian. Nobody else wants to spend money, $500 an hour to teach a kid chess.
Wow.
Only the Chinese and Indians will spend that money to make sure their kid is that good. So that's it. They're the ones.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? His dad charged $400 to $500 an hour for chess lessons. And the only families that were willing to pay, were Chinese families or Asian families and Indian families. Unbelievable. Luke Red Pill Perry says, I remember Al Unser Jr. for Nintendo. Dude, I remember Super Monaco GP. I also remember Ivan the Iron Man Stewart's Super Off-Road. I was the king of Ivan the Iron Man Stewart's Super Off-Road. Nobody could touch me in that game. Like me, I was the man. I was the champion.
To invest the most in their children. They still care on that level. But most families don't wake up and go, I want my children to act a certain way for the legacy, for the family name as a whole. I'm instilling standards upon them because of the last name. My entire life I've had standards instilled upon me. My entire life. Your last name's Tate, you can't do that. Your last name's Tate, you're not allowed to do that. Your last name's Tate, hit him back. I've been like that my whole life.
There you go.
And now we've removed all standards from everybody. This is why you get school shooters. These school shooters should be too embarrassed to even embarrass their fathers. They should wake up and go, I would never do this.
But that's the thing. That's the thing. There are no fathers to be embarrassed by. Or there are no fathers to be embarrassed. Right? The absence of a father is absolutely... Jesus Christ, man. Like having an absentee father or a present father who doesn't give a shit like I did. Like that's a bad place to be, man. It really is.
To my family. And I'll also, this is definitely gonna get me canceled, but I'm gonna say it because it's true. I'll say it by extension for suicide. I don't care what you do to me. I'm Andrew Tate. I cannot kill myself. I can't. Right. I'm not allowed. It's against the creed of my last name. I didn't have ancestors who suffered how they suffered, who went through what they went through, for me to be born to kill myself. That's not the end of my story. I refuse. I absolutely refuse. No matter how bad it gets or what bad situation I'm in, I refuse to do it because I have too much respect for my last name. I won't do it. And I think that a lot of things, a lot of men's mental health, a lot of crises can actually just come back to the old adages of honor. And you can fix a lot of it. Your girl left you, you miss her. I get it. We've all been heartbroken. She's with a new guy. You're upset. She doesn't care. You care. I get all of it. But there has to be a point where you get to a level of pride and you just go, that's not who I am. I lost her. That's life.
You know what? This is interesting. And you guys have heard me talk about this. You guys have heard me talk about this, right? When Devin and I first got together, she used to try to trash her ex. Like every girl. Well, my ex was this, that. I said, I don't want to hear it. I don't know. I wasn't there, so I don't know. I also know that there are two sides to every story. He wasn't the perfect husband. You weren't the perfect wife. They were terrible for each other. It was ridiculous, right? And so, pardon me. And so, after their divorce, Devin's ex, actually, hang on a second. So after the divorce, Devin's ex harassed her constantly. It was absolutely insane. Even still, for 2 years, I said, Devin, I've been there. Like, you're going to have to give him some time to get over this, right? You're going to have to give him some time to get over this. And this was years ago. 2 years in. He's 2 years in. Gentlemen, Devin's ex still harasses the both of us. He still harasses the both of us. He watches my channel. He follows me on social media. I remember for an April Fool's joke. The April Fool's joke, when I told everyone that Devin and I had split up, right? Dude, nobody fell for that joke except for him. Except for him. I think he shot her a text from like another number, like probably a Google Voice number, whatever. And he said, "Hey man, like, we need to get you out of that situation." Out of that situation? What? What are you talking about? It was incredible. I am no longer, hey, give him a chance to get over this. Oh no. This man still harasses us. Still harasses us. And it's been 7 years, guys. 7 years. Fam, get over it. And you want to know why? Dude, Jay Blaze has all, dude. Here's why this man. And again, listen, 2 years I said, hey, look, just, listen, I've been heartbroken. You guys just saw the worst heartbreak of my life, right? I've been there. So I know what happens to feel like to feel like you were done dirty. I get it. But at some point you have to move on. And now we are 7 years later. They got divorced back in 2016. Wait, 16. 15? Anyway, still 7 years later. 7 years later, this man continues to harass me. Yeah, Devin says he watches the pod to get dirt about me since I'm not on social media. Yeah. Here's another thing. Never mind. Look. The point is, Max says, watch your back. I am not worried. I am not worried about her. I'm not worried about Devin's ex. The reason why he now harasses us, because Devin's a better woman. Dude, she looks better than she ever did when she was married. Jay Blaze said she's in the best shape of her life. She drives an unbelievable car. She lives a great life. She can buy whatever she wants, never have to check her bank account. Her ex knows all of this simply because he follows me. He stalks me. It is absolutely psychotic. And guess who reached out to him? That's right, Tony Johnson. Tony Johnson reached out to that dude, and that's where they decided to cook up this story about Devin being a single mother. It was unbelievable. Anthony Johnson contacted Devin's ex to manufacture dirt on me. It's the most incredible thing ever. Luke Red Pill Perry says, we only worry about Jason Black and old face Duke popping up. Dude, I will beat O'Shea uglier than he already is. I will beat Jason Black uglier than he already is. Both those dudes neither of those dudes will ever come near me. If either of those dudes saw me on the street, they'd turn and go the other way. Just like Alex with playing with fire. Myron rolled up on him. I'm gonna call the cops. Oh yeah, really? Where's that evidence now? Where's that evidence? Yeah, exactly. Oh, guys, yes, the president. Yes, Anthony Johnson. He got in contact with Anthony Johnson to try to cook up some cockamamie story. First it was, Anyway, so now you got, and this is the first time I've ever talked about it on the air, right? But he is pissed because she's with a better man. She's with a better dude. I'm a better man than you, man. And the guy is my age. He still has time to turn it around. He's still hung up on her. It's unbelievable. He still harasses us. It's insane. Devin says, when people have to try to dig up dirt, they don't have anything but free time and no life. Yeah. Not only that, now they can manufacture dirt. God, listen, you don't think, oh my God, you don't think I could go to some website and have, you don't think I can go to some website and pay some fake website, especially with AI and deep fakes, For somebody to make up a false marriage certificate between Destiny and Melina? Huh? Right? I mean, honestly, you can literally, dude, you can order fake IDs, fake degrees, fake documents. It's all there, guys. It's all there. And people still blindly they don't believe any of that stuff. They never liked me in the first place, and we're just looking for reason to justify it. But the point is that just like Andrew said, hey, I get it. She hurt you. She did you dirty. But at some point, you got to get over it. You got to get over it. And Devin's ex, if you're watching, and I know you are, let's continue.
You just got to get on with it. And the best way is to have, where do you find the strength when you're in these difficult situations? I always find the strength from my last name. I'm Andrew Tate. I'm Andrew Tate, so I just have to do it. I'm in a Romanian jail cell. I wake up, there's cockroaches in my bed. They're all over my face. What am I going to do, cry? Am I bitch out?
I'm up to 2 gallons of water today, guys. Woo!
I'm going to go and sign a piece of paper and say I'm guilty? I'm going to sell my brother out? Is that what I'm going to do? Am I going to go fucking lie? And
oh, yeah. Yeah. Here's another little tidbit about Devin's ex. He is a magician with Photoshop. He is a wizard. He is a wizard, man. Oh my God. He is an absolute wizard with this stuff. Dude, he can make, anyway, like he can make things look, anyway, let's continue.
And put these, and sell the girls out like they want me to? Am I going to stand up and say, I'm sorry for saying go to the gym like a pussy? No, I'm going to take the cockroaches off my mouth. I'm going to do some push-ups because I'm Andrew Tate. When shit really gets hard, honor and courage and bravery and your last name is all you've ever had. It's all you're going to have. And it used to be like that in the olden days. That's why no one did this dumb shit. They were just too embarrassed to even do it. And this is why you're saying, how do we fix the country? Absolutely, all of it comes down to the fact that, especially with men, none of them are bestowed with the things that the masculine essence needs to be a good man.
Woo!
You need
wow! Man, this guy drops gems, dude.
You need honor. You need a healthy level of ego. You need all of these things. We're taking it all from boys, and what are we giving them instead? Video games, porn, weed. And what do you expect of these people? What do you expect of these shit versions of men besides trash output? You're going to get garbage all across the spectrum. Either they're going to do nothing or they're going to do something bad. They're certainly not going to do anything good when they don't try for anything in their lives. How are they going to do something good? The scary thing about all of this is that there still are 2 teams in the world. And there is a side of the world where they don't accept this crap. How long is America going to compete globally when you have countries like China and Russia and these other countries where they don't do this? I don't know if you saw, they did that survey to kids of what they want to be when they grow up. Did you ever see that? Yeah, it was crazy. Every American kid wanted to be a YouTuber. Every Chinese kid wanted to be an engineer or an astronaut. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Every American kid wanted to be a YouTuber. Oh my God. Ay. Unbelievable.
Who owns the future? Who owns the future? We're in so much trouble. We're in so much trouble as a society, and what are we arguing over? It's insane.
And what do they show you on TikTok, though?
Absolutely, exactly.
But let's stay on this. You asked a very important question. Let's go back to it. We had the same amount of guns, 1950 per capita. Brandon, can you look at that per capita, how many guns we had in 1950 versus today? Yeah. But it's relatively the same. Gun laws haven't changed dramatically from 1950 till today. What's changed from then to today? We took out God out of school. Prozac was invented in 1987.
Prozac, yep.
The law to legalize advertising drugs, big pharma in America was 1985.
All right, I'm going to leave it there for that. So what I'm going to do here in a few, guys, is I am going to start my my daily dating show breakdown. You will not be able to watch it here, but you can watch it on Rumble. Rumble.com, I think /Donovan Sharpe. I'll put the link in the chat. It's got the wrong thing. It's got the wrong title. But let me put the link in the chat. How do I'm still new to Rumble here, y'all. Devin, if you would, get me that Rumble link. Oh, wait, I got it right here. Just go to the address box. Imagine that. I'm going to hang out here for a few minutes more, and allow people to get in. Yeah, I'm going to be continuing my breakdown of Married at First Sight, season 13. Very, very good season so far. Shit has gotten crazy. Shit has gotten real. And so you can either watch it on Rumble for free, or you can watch it on Sharpstream, or if you want access to the replay, you can become a patron. And my chat disappeared. Hang on. Let's see. Hang on a second. There we go. Derek the Trader, pardon me, with the $5 super chat says, why are people so quick to believe women lying on Tate despite so much evidence to the contrary? Pardon me. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's oops. Oh boy. Nope, we're good. Yeah, it's interesting because I actually had the same conversation with Kevin. When the Anna Quinn stuff came out. I told Kevin, I was like, dude, like, you and I are both strong proponents of the anti-believe all women. Right? When you don't like someone, yes, this is live, Luke Red Pill Perry. When you don't like someone, you will look for any reason to justify your disdain for them. And that's why here's the thing. Nobody believes these women. They don't. They're pretending to because there's an agenda. And not a one person on the face of the earth would bet on his guilt. Beast with Red Pill with the $2 super chat says, Donovan, I sent you an email about the timestamps. Okay, very good. Very good. Appreciate that very, very much. Okay. But yeah. Yeah, dude, Devin's ex is like, dude. That dude is majorly screwed up, man. Like, he is majorly screwed up. Like, he is all kinds of fucked up. Get this. Here's how fucked up this dude is. You guys ain't never gonna believe this shit. Oh, yeah, we gonna get into it. Check this out. And you cannot make this up. Devin's ex's best friend. Married his mother. And so Devin's ex's stepdad is his age. Can't make this shit up. I'm trying to tell you. And I know he's watching this. I know you're watching, bruh. I know you're watching. You've harassed me enough. It's time for me to fire back. Unfortunately, none of these people are going to know who you are. But just to let them know just how fucked up you are. And how fucked up your mom is. This is, like, it's incredible. Like, it is a completely toxic, it's crazy. It's fucking, yeah, you guys heard right. Devin's ex's best friend married his mother. So his stepdad is his age, which is in his mid-40s. He's our age, right? And his mother's like, and his mom's like 70. 70, 75. What? What? You're a 45-year-old man, 46-year-old man married to a 70-year-old? What are we doing? Manny Fresh says, has to be a white guy. Oops.
Yep.
Yeah, this is some white people shit. Yep, Devin says they got married when he turned 18. Can't make this shit up, y'all. So that gives you a little bit of backstory as to why This gives you a little bit of backstory as to why this man will just not leave us alone. Eventually he will. Eventually he will. And to be honest with you, I don't really think he's long for this world. I really don't. He has a lot of bad habits. He drinks a lot. It's incredible. It's incredible. Cigarman85 says, did he get alpha widower? Nah. Because Devin was, oh my God. She wasn't a fraction of a percentage of the woman she is now. You kidding me, man? JBZ21 says, damn, the mom is a cougar. Mom is a fucking alley cat. 24-year-old alley cat. It's ridiculous. It's fucking crazy. Like, it's fucking crazy, guys. No wonder this dumbass won't leave us alone. He sees the life Devin's living. He sees the life Devin's living. Man, it's insane. The dude is absolutely insane. He is absolutely insane. Anyway. Skitty B says, I like the new look, Donovan. It fits you. I don't know. I'm not going to stick with this look. This is just, this is, and the only reason why I'm doing the green screen, I'm going to go back to the real screen, but the only reason why I'm doing the green screen is because everything from the waist down is a little, yeah. Oh, boy. All right, guys. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say goodbye to my YouTube audience. And like I said, if you guys want to watch the dating show breakdown, you can watch us. You can watch it on Rumble. And I'm not gonna have it up on. I'm not gonna do the whole thing on Rumble. Like eventually, I'm just gonna shrink the audience to Sharpe Stream. But if you're interested and think you might want a Sharpe Stream membership or a Patreon membership, go on over to Rumble, check it out, and if you think this is something that could benefit your life, maybe you sign up.